guys, you know we've got to play with the camera a little bit. Come on, camera, zoom in. There we go. Welcome, welcome everyone. Welcome, welcome. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. Hey, you want to be surprised? I wasn't ready. I got talking with my son and I got preparing things and I'm just kind of winging it today. It's summertime. We should have a nice, easy, relaxing day, right? We're going to play a little, everyone. We are going to play. Hello, hello. Hope everyone who's not here is out and enjoying their summertime, their weekend. It's 100 degrees already, so I'm not going outside. I try to plan, stop sewing machine. I try to plan my morning time stuff, my stuff that I need to do in the morning, so when it's not as hot out. Hi, Giovanna. Giovanna's at the end of her day, so she's hopefully avoiding a lot of the heat. The things we're playing with today. My hands are still a mess. I apologize. We're going to be dealing with this for a while. It does take a really long time for everything to heal up. We're working on this quilting on the grid project. I have all of my fun strips. Just trying to get things organized. Hi, Becky. Hi, Lynn. Lynn P, are you new? I'm not sure if I recognize your name. And if you've been here for a long time, my apologies. I'm just not sure if I've seen you here on a live stream before. But welcome, welcome. All happy, scrappy people are welcome to hang out with us and chit-chat and work on whatever. These cords to the Aliso irons, that's what I'm working on right now, just getting my iron plugged in. They are they're not stiff, but they're still kind of firm. I haven't used them a lot, and I don't like the kinks in them from them being wound up, so I try to wind them up in different sections, but they seem to get spiral like the old telephone. Yes, welcome, welcome. I'm glad you joined us then. Are you a scrappy quilter or a scrappy anything, or do you just like to do generalized patchwork quilting? We are working on mug rugs today, and you don't have to be a quilter to make a mug rug, right? Pardon me, pardon me, pardon me. I know. Shouldn't be talking politics with my son. Should have been here getting things ready. We were talking about Clinton and Bush Sr. and Obama and all of that in the past. Hi, Becky. Hi, Barb. Oh, a beginner. Wonderful. Then you're just exploring all the things you like. Becky is done with school for the summer. Now she can do some quilting. I would imagine as a teacher that your days are full between actual school and the things you have to do at home. That takes up a lot of time. All right. See, it's not even 11 o'clock, so it's okay to be messing around a little. Hi, Laura. You finally caught a live. Woohoo! The replay, I don't mind watching replays. I don't chat with people during the live, so a lot of times I'll just catch a replay. But it is fun to watch other people chat, so it's nice to see the live chat when it comes up. Thank you, Giovanna. Scrappy all the way. That's right, Barb. I love Scrappy. I have. Now with this project, I have end of sentence. We're working on these. This was a kit that was given to me. It's not quite a full kit. It's just some mug rug that's already been quilted, the batting. But it calls for 1.5 inch squares, so I brought out my rainbow strips. Laura, are you following me? Giovanna and Laura, are you hopping from live stream to live stream? I love doing that. I used to do that all the time. But a lot of the people that I used to hop from, they don't do videos anymore. And it's kind of sad when you've been watching YouTube for so long and people just don't have time for the channel, they lose interest, or unfortunately they pass away. And then I'm just saying, it was really fun. They used to have these blog hops or the live stream vlog hops or whatever. You could hop from YouTuber to YouTuber. You could plan your whole entire Saturday. Everyone would take an hour or two. So you'd go from this live stream and they would make, let's say, today we're making Scrappy mug rugs. Then you'd go over to Giovanna's live stream and she's showing you how to make embroidered mug rugs. And then you'd go over to Laura's and then you would go ahead and watch something else. That was just a lot of fun to do that. And I haven't seen them anymore. Costanza's got dinner time in the UK. Oh, I'm so glad you're here. Yes, it's a Scrappy project day. I love my little rainbow bin. Now, of course, this is a rainbow, and you have to have 1.5-inch strips of other colors too. So this works out really well. I think I need to put I think it needs like dividers, but it's been staying pretty neat. But I don't want dividers because I don't want it to ruin being able to see the colors. I don't want to see the dividers. So as long as I stay pretty neat and put everything back nice and tidy, this has been working out really well for me. If you guys have been here for a while, I've been doing this system for a long time. Anna is here. She just made it home from Tucson. Oh no, helped make 4 bags. Oh, okay. I thought you brought home 4 bags of jeans. I was reading it too fast. I'm like, that's a lot of jeans. Cheryl is here. Janice is here. I love scraps. I do. I'll say it over and over again. Laura's crocheting. Planning on working on my PMQ. Nope. I don't know what that is, Laura. Sorry. I'm sure if you tell me, I'll know what it is. I don't really join in on a lot of the big time crafting type things where people do all these joint quilts. Hey, didn't I say we were going to try doing the video from this one this time? Do you think should we try it? You'll have to put up with it moving around, and I don't know what's going to happen while we're sewing, but we can give it a try. Hi, Denise. I'm a little fidgety today. I usually start to motivate about 11, 12 o'clock in the day, and that's when I get most of my stuff done in the afternoon. You want to try? Gilbert, Arizona. Puzzle mystery quilt from Cotton Cuts. Gotcha. Yes, see, now I know what puzzle mystery quilt is. We can try it. I don't know, like I said, it's connected to this table. This is a really heavy kitchen table. It's solid wood. So let's see if we can do it. Because otherwise, if I don't put my hands in the video, close your eyes, guys, sorry. If I don't put my hands in the video, then it's like, you're not going to see anything. Okay, hold on. I have to adjust. Oh, let's plan ahead on this one, Robin, sure. Okay, hold on. All right, so we want it to be... Oh, I guess we need it maybe here. I guess that would work. You know what? My apologies. That's not going to cut it. Let's put this one here and readjust this. Hey, let's be a real YouTuber, Robin, and plan things ahead, right? I hope everyone's got your eyes closed. All right, let's do there. That'll work too. Okay, now just to warn you, sometimes I make funny faces when I'm sewing. If I'm concentrating and stuff. There. It's only us, right? We haven't all gotten here yet anyways. How many people are here? Oh, yeah, the full crew. That's okay. We'll be fine. All right. So, yeah, so I apologize. You guys don't see it because I edit it out of most of my videos. But when I'm not talking, sorry, my asthma's bothering me today. When I'm not talking, I tend to make a lot of funny faces. Let's see if that works. I'll be able to tell because I can see myself when I sit down. So let's sit down and chat a minute. Ta-ta-da-da! I have all my cords. It's like not like being in a hospital with IVs, but it's like being attached to an IV or something that you got to drag around with you everywhere. See, there we go. Now I'm going to look this way and pretend like I'm talking to you and there's nobody there but a trash can for all of my fabric scraps. I had a moment. I emptied my trash can. I like to save all of my little fabric scraps. That's the only thing I put in here. And then when it gets up to about here, mostly full, I have to empty it in the trash can. But that means I can't dig through here and steal other things out of it. You like this version better? Okay, let's do real life. I stick my tongue out. You know, I never used to do that, Giovanna, but I'm just going to stare at you guys here. My apologies. I never used to stick my tongue out, but I do now. Jody's here. She went grocery shopping. I hope you got something good. You twitch your lips. You know, something else I've started doing is I've started like chewing the inside of my cheek. Not hard enough to cause a problem. I think it's a stressor that you just chew the inside of your cheek. Twyla's here from Ocean Park, Washington. Jody might know where that is. I have no idea. I'll have to admit, being an East Coaster, I knew the East Coast pretty well. Not little places and stuff, but I definitely don't know much about locations here out west. Very ill-informed on geography when it came to that. All right, it's a little after 11. I think we have everyone here that's going to be here. How about chewing some ice? I'm in Seattle. No, you don't chew ice. It's very bad for your teeth. I learned that very young. You're not supposed to chew ice. It's bad for your teeth. And don't chew gum in a video because it's rude to hear this all the time. Nobody wants to hear that. Someone was asking for advice about doing live streams on YouTube, another quilting channel, and if they'd start doing them, I'll share it with you. But I'm like, you know, just relax, have fun. The people that came here want to see you, but don't chew gum. Sticking your tongue out does help. All right, so yeah, we're going to do side look. And all right, what is it with the all rights today? But I'm going to admit something. When I watch my videos back, sometimes I look like a turtle. I think it's because as I've gotten older, I get the turtleneck, but I kind of look like a turtle sometimes. Becky made it. Hi, Becky. All right, Robin needs a drink. I almost said mama, but you guys aren't my kids, right? I think we need to keep the drink over here. My phone has been blowing up. The rest of you in Arizona, I'm sure you guys get it too. The phone's been blowing up with heat warnings, excessive heat warnings. A few weeks ago, it was about air quality, and now it's about excessive heat. It's like, oh my goodness, it's crazy. Yeah, I learned early on, you do not chew gum, and you don't smack your lips and chew gum that your parents can hear it. And you better not even think about chewing with your mouth open at the table or talking with food in your mouth, unless you're teasing your siblings. All right, so now I'm going to be bouncing up and down still because I can't sit still. I have to figure out what my mood is, because some days it makes me very fidgety and I pace a lot and stuff like that. I don't feel stressed, I just feel kind of restless. All right, so there's my fabric. Now this pattern, apparently they did a mug rug challenge at some point, I'm guessing. I thought for some reason, because it's going to be two-sided, so there's one on either side, that I thought you had to put because I was thinking the gridded interfacing, this is not iron-on, but I've got my basting adhesive, so we're good. I thought that you had to put a 1.5-inch square here and a 1.5-inch square here. Oh, look, I can see text messages on my computer. That's not a good idea. My daughter just texted me. Nothing important. She can wait. So I thought you were supposed to put a square on here and a square on the back and then sew the next two squares and do it that way. But apparently you're supposed to make the entire project front and back and then do them together and quilt them or something. I don't know. We're going to make it up. We're not going to follow this at all because a lot of it has half square triangles and I did not prepare in advance for half square triangles, but I wanted you to know where this came from. So whichever one of you was generous enough to share this, I have an idea. I think I might know who it is, but sometimes you guys just randomly send things. I really appreciate it. It's really fun to play with. Long Beach Peninsula. Did I know that Washington has, wait, Washington, yeah, Washington is Washington State over Seattle, Jody's Way, West Coast. You have a little peninsula there? That's kind of cool. You went on your morning walk and it was too hot to do your normal. Yeah, it's been bad. You have the hibby jibbies, yes, and the hobble wobbles, the hobble cobbles, the hibby jibbies and the hobble cobbles, I think is what we used to say back in the day. Wish I could stay. Data limited. Catch y'all in the replay. Bye. We'll see you after. Now, let me take this. Ooh, you're further away. This, it has like, my son thought they were napkins, but they kind of remind me of like old school 1980s cloth diapers. It has this texture where you can see all these little holes in it, like the little divots. And then this side is all nice and smooth. I don't think it's going to be one different side to the other. There's no adhesive anywhere. Even the quilting lines aren't straight. They look like I quilted it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so it's 25. And I was thinking we don't even have to be crazy. We can just cut up my scraps and put 1.5 inch square in each spot. Maybe we'll come up with a design, but we're just going to have fun today and just sew something that means nothing. You know, there's nothing really to it. Where am I, Barb? I am in Surprise, Arizona. I have no idea where I am, except I am west of, I have an idea. We've been here since the end of February. I am west of Phoenix, and I have seen the Phoenix airport too many times to count. Yeah, I don't know about the embossed. I don't think I would consider that part of this. It's pre-quilted. It's like the materials are different. Maybe they flipped it to the back side of it or something. Yep, this is the front side of this fabric and this is the back side of the fabric. Because when I pull this apart here and I look at it, I can see all the bumpies. Oh, it's adhesive on the back. This isn't adhesive. If it was meant to be, it's all gone. Yeah, it's supposed to be a 111. It's crazy. It's going to be 111 here because I was looking at the temperature and I'm like 111, that's kind of fun. So we can do, I think what I want to do is, put something different on the back. I didn't bring out any fabric to prepare for it, but I can always grab something. Maybe put a red, yellow, orange, green, blue, purple. Maybe just do all reds. I don't know. You guys know I've been really into like a lot of the rainbowy stuff. We have 4 of them. We can totally cheat and just put 2 pieces of fabric on too if we want. So if you guys want to see, I have Christmas fabric, Halloween fabric, and then a variety of fabrics plus rainbow. Oh yes, excuse me for a second. This is my pressing cloth that I also use when I spray baste. So I will put that down on it. I know I shouldn't use the same one, but I can I try to fold it the same all the time so all the spray basting stays on the inside. Excuse me, so that this is where all the threads are. This is where all the glue spray is on. But one day I'll get organized enough to have a couple different things. I used to have a spray basting cloth and station, but I haven't found it yet. It's packed somewhere. I was happy to find this. So I have my ruler, my rotary cutter. We can do some rainbow. I'm just going to take off the top of the pile. There's Christmas in there too, I can see, from when I did a stocking. This ruler is kind of big. What else do we have for rulers? I like this ruler. I just have to figure out where 1.5 inches is because there's so many lines on it that sometimes it confuses me. All right. Well, gee, it would match the fabric anyway, right? So we can do 2. We don't go out during the heat of the day. Once the sun goes down, it isn't too bad. Yeah, and the sun sets early. We don't have the sun, late at night here. I know when I wake up at 5:30 in the morning, the sun is already rising. It's already getting bright outside. I thought that said those were 1.5 inch squares. What are they? Oh, these are only 1 inch squares. Because this paperwork here, oh, 1.5 inches when you sew it together, it's 1 inch. That's why. Yep. Forgot seam allowances. So we can still pretend on here and just kind of guess on what we want. Red. I don't know, what's the controversy with the rainbow, whether or not it includes pink or not? I never know where pink goes in the rainbow, so we'll stick with the tried and true on this one. And we'll go from there. I like polka dots. Sun goes down at 9:30. Yeah, sun goes down. I don't know when the sunset is, but it's like 7:30 or something like that. Oh, look, we'll be able to see my mouth moving every now and then and not the rest of me. Did I spin this? There's the inch. Oh, I'm confusing myself. Let's try again. You ever one of those days? I love that ruler for some things, but not for other things. I made a quick little video about these donuts that I put on the back of this Missouri Star ruler. And one day it'll pop up. I'm going to be making today or tomorrow the giveaway video, so keep an eye out for that. That one's going to be coming up for the 50K subscriber. I'm going to be putting that out. Excuse me one second, my nose is running from allergies. I'm going to be putting that up either as part of the Whip It Wednesday video or in place of it. I don't have a lot that I've worked on this week. I have mostly been doing things around the house. You know, I cleaned the trash cans, I had to do laundry, I went ahead and I cleaned all the screens on the house from the outside with the hose. I cleaned the sidewalks and the back cement patio and things like that. What other kind of orange? This one looks fun. So that's mostly what I've been working on. I haven't had much time in here. It's like every time I go to do something, like I ordered, get a piece of tape to mark, right? It's pretty much what I need to do. I ordered Walmart delivery to come to the house to make life easier, because if we have it and it's paid for, I may as well let them do it. But the problem is they sent me yogurt, and I got it a few days ago, but the yogurt was dated in May. In early June, and I opened them both up and they had a big glob of mold in it. So then I had to go up to Walmart and turn them in and get new yogurt. They said they didn't have any watermelon, but when I got there they had a whole 3 bins full of watermelon, so I got some watermelon. Thankfully that was good. So then you come home and you're like, oh, well, now something else is going on, so you have to do this. So there was a constant conspiracy to keep me from doing anything fun this week in the sewing department. I did, of course, work on the Patreon video, and I have this cutest little mug rug that I'm working on. I took the scraps from my Patreon project and I sewed them all together into this, and I love the way it has like those old kaleidoscope toys that you look through the tube and you can see all the different colors. What are they, like confetti or something in there? So I had a lot of fun working on that. But otherwise, I don't think I got anything done. Oh no, Giovanna. Then you need to have a little scooter or something so you can still get out and about. So there is my 1.5 inches. And these aren't even on the end, so I just go a little past the 1.5 inches, and then I can flip it around and trim that smidge off. With this project, red, orange, yellow, I'm doing good. I had to double check my rainbow, my Roy G. Biv. With this project, it's really not that important. So I don't think that's going to work. Let's put it here. Oh, it's hot in here today without the fan on. So then I need 3. So I need that yellow. We can have a little bit of this. I still hoard my scraps. A javelina crossed the road about 6 feet in front of me, and then I saw it going through the underbrush with its football-sized baby. Oh, I don't even know what a javelina is. Where was Anna at? I did a 4-mile run with the Roosters race in Tucson this morning. Gotcha. Yeah, running is definitely not my thing. I don't have control of my breathing enough to do any of that. Plus, you know, being out of shape and all that doesn't help either. And then let's put this yellow in. Now, my fabrics aren't always the true blue, you know, red, white, and blue Crayola colors. But it works. My yellows are a little orangey, but I think when you're doing rainbow projects like this, it's okay to blend them down. I saved this. That's still going to be useful because if it's a 1.5-inch square, I can use it in another project. Oh, mine are all set up in order anyways, duh. You go out with the car. That's fun too. Robbie and I, we were just talking about, except for the price of gas, we like to go out and just drive and explore and stuff. See, like this little piece here, this is a really old piece of fabric, and I don't know if I have any more besides this little 1.5-inch. So there is that. That's perfect. And I can decide, you know, what kind of, what green mood oh, here's another little piece. May as well use that one. What kind of a green mood am I in? And am I in the darker forest green, or am I in the bright neon green? And I can set the mood. And look, I didn't even have to like go into 12 different bins and pull them all out and dig through them and find what I wanted, because I know my patrons and I, we do a lot with 1.5-inch squares. So why not have a bin already set up for it? I don't do 2.5-inch strips. I should start doing squares. It's actually been on my mind a little bit. Red, orange, yellow, green. So green needs 1, 2, 3, 4. So I do need one more, obviously, to go there. So I have been thinking about sitting down one day and just maybe popping in a live stream with you guys and just hang out and cut a bunch of 2.5-inch squares out of like my blue bin and stuff like that, just so I can go ahead and start making some scrappy patchwork projects and just to get that stuff done and get some of the scraps out of the way. You guys can keep me company. Javelina are the animals that look like wild pigs. Javelina. Oh, of course it's javelina, Anna. My apologies. We are over in that section of the country. I should know better anyways, because Florida has a lot of Spanish influence too, so it would be javelina because the J is the H. I have the picture in my head. I know what you're talking about now. In Florida, poor Florida, but in Florida we have just regular old wild pigs. Now I'm going to turn this over because my black cutting mat is so dark. But for all of our peeps in Florida, I hope if you're down south that you guys are doing well. They have had days and days and days of nonstop rain. It is so flooded down there. My son Justin is back in Cape Coral, Fort Myers area, and he said he was sending me pictures. And he's like, I like rain, but this is getting crazy. It's just so flooded everywhere. Now, I brought in a light green, so I may as well just go ahead and bring in a light blue. What's fun is I can look at this, and I know this is the light blue, specifically that I used on a Papa Smurf wall hanging that was hanging in my other room back home for years, that I made for my son, because his nickname, Justin, is Papa Smurf. He uses that in like video games and stuff. So that's the blue background from Papa Smurf. And I know, like this green, I made boxer shorts for some cousins and stuff. So that's something. Giovanna, look right above you. Anna said they are basically wild pigs. A 2 and a 2.5, yes. I stopped still when I saw it, as they can be dangerous when they feel threatened, especially if baby ones. Oh yeah, don't mess with mamas. Yeah, you'll see a picture of it. If what I'm picturing, don't they have like a more of the longer, skinnier type snout to it? See, now I have this one here, and I don't want to put that in because that polka dot has too much other colors in it as I'm sticking. I do have white in that one. I was hesitant, but we're going to lose a lot of that in the seam allowance. We'll probably only make, I don't know, I think on the back we'll put something else on the back so that we're only making the front of these. This little bit is not worth saving to me. I won't save that. Let me show you. You guys are going to see it in the Whip It Wednesday, but I'll show you anyways. I don't think I showed you. Oh, I did show you, right? That I saved. I'm just wandering around. There's only so far I can go. I'm attached. But this project, and you can just see how tiny. When I work on a project, I do like to save the tiny little offcuts and stuff, but I don't want to save something that's really, really short. So that's going to be a fabric postcard. That'll be fun to work on. I have my little cords hanging. Robin, I'm curious, what are your go-to rulers? All right, let's see, rulers. I have this Missouri Star one. It's the 8 by 2.5. I love it, but to be honest with you, I don't like this color. The neon green kind of makes my eyes want to squint down and everything, but I do use that a lot. I have, where my laptop is, I keep this little container here, and in it I keep my little rulers. So this one's, I love creative grids. So this one is a 6.5 by, I want to say it's also, yep, 2.5. I use this a lot. Now, if you're with me in my Patreon group, I use this one a ton. This one is 6.5 by 1.5, but it has this 1/4-inch mark right here. So I use this all the time when I'm trimming off half square triangles and stitch and flip corners. They're not really pigs, but look like pigs, yeah. Wild pigs are dangerous. And also I have this little, I bought an on the grid package way back when, probably in the early 2000s, and it had the 2.5, 5, 6, 5.5, 6.5, 9.5, 12.5, whatever. I use this all the time for boxing corners. Now, Creative Grids is my favorite brand. That's the one I go to most. I will be showing something in a video. I have a little, in my drawer over here. I use the 6.5-inch OmniGrid a bunch, which I just had, and I set it down somewhere, but wherever that is. I use them so much that I'm constantly wearing off the numbers. This one is only like 2-3 years old, and I've already worn it all down here. So I don't know if it's something I'm doing or someone, it's because of the way it's printed on here, but I have a crafty godmother, I call her, and she sends me random packages. This is a Fiskars. Fiskars mats, I really love the Fiskars mats. This one is a, I believe it's an 8.5, yes. This one's an 8.5 by 8.5 square, and it's got this on here. But look at the size of the numbers. I talk about this in an upcoming video. I don't know if you guys can see how big those numbers are up there compared to the size here. This is for us older quilters that can't see so well. Oh my goodness, I love this. Creative Grid rulers, they're nice and sturdy. Like this Fiskars one feels thinner than, yep, the Fiskars one is just a little bit thinner than the OmniGrid. OmniGrip. Huh, I thought it was grid. And then, let's see what we have here. The Missouri Star one, the Missouri Star one is a little bit thicker than the Fiskars also. I feel like the Fiskars is good, but I feel like I'm also worried about breaking it. But I gotta say, I love the numbers and I love how it's set off and I can see all the little increments really well, but it doesn't have all of the tiny marks that these have. So it doesn't have, it has all quarters, it doesn't have eighths. Now, 1/8 of an inch isn't important to me when I'm quilting, excuse me, but when I'm cutting out bags and stuff, I just cut it out to the size that it is. Sometimes it's 7 1/8, sometimes it's 7 1/4. You can't get the 2.5-inch square ruler, not even on Amazon. I see them all the time at Michael's and stuff like that. At least I used to. I haven't gone to Michael's in a while. So we're going to leave this one here. And then I do have a Wild and Crazy ruler that was sent to me. This one's really fun. but I think I showed you guys before. See how glittery it is and rainbowy it is? I can use this as a basic cutting tool for like trimming things, but if I'm doing a block and I have to specifically cut it to a measurement, I can't do it because I can't see them. There's too much glitter going on. You see all that glitter in there? I love it and I love the colors, but when I set it down on here, especially on the black mat, and then I have I have a floor lamp sitting on my table. So when I look down, the light's reflecting in it and I can't zone in on the numbers. But it's great if I just want to cut on the line. I just unfortunately can't see like the 1/4 inch and stuff like that. I used to only have a few rulers, but I've really started collecting rulers. I think the longer you do a craft, the more you realize what you're going to use. So I started out with this Fiskars. This came with a cutting mat, I think. So this is the 6x24, and I use this great. I use this to fold fabric with all the time. Oh, I pushed a button somewhere. Oh, my daughter's talking about yarn saves. My daughter and her friend are really into crocheting right now. There we go. And there's all kinds of yarn sales going on right now. Hobby Lobby, Michael's, people are buying like 100 skeins of yarn. So I purposely purchased this Creative Grids. This one is 6.5 by 24.5. I wanted something, again, because I wore the numbers off on that one. But this one's great because the numbers go in 2 different directions. So if I do inches, I do it here, and if I need 1.5 inches, 2.5, I flip it over this way and I can do it. And I like that it's a little bit longer and a little bit wider. The next rulers that I'm looking at, they have, what is it, like 8 by 4 inches or something like that. It's 8 by 6.5 or something, because I like this ruler, but it's too long to pull out all the time. So I want something that's like 6.5 by 12.5. I need something that's half of this size. So as I start replacing my rulers, I'm purchasing the Creative Grids. I have a bunch of fancy rulers that I've either purchased or that been shared with me. And I want to start doing videos on how to use them. But I need life to settle down for a minute. Bought several quilters Select, and I have trouble reading it on dark fabric. Yes, there are rulers that are like white on one side and black on the other with their printing. I actually have my 12.5-inch rulers. I keep those in the bookshelf, 12.5 and 9.5, because I don't have anywhere to store them otherwise. So this is an Omni Grid, and it's all yellow, but this is an Optima. I don't know where I got it from, but it's yellow on one side and black on the other. So I reach for these based on what color fabric I'm using. So if I'm using a darker fabric, I might reach for the one with yellow on it. If I'm using a lighter fabric, I might reach for the one with black on it. It's all about having options, but you have to be careful because rulers are so darn expensive. Anything is really nowadays. So we have to be careful that what we purchase is something we're going to need. It's nice when you can go somewhere and borrow someone's rulers and use them to see if you like it. Lots of bling, lots of bling. I know you don't have Michael's, but I was just trying to think where I saw them here, Giovanna. Michael's, they don't ship to you either, right? So if you don't have a store, they won't even mail it to you. When I was doing paper crafts, I got tons of stuff for that. I put clear bandage. I did the clear bandage tape. I did not like it. But my crafty godmother sent me the little donuts, and I've been using them so far, and I love it. And once I get that video edited, I'll probably put it up next Friday. Everything is expensive, yep. What some people do, hi Heather from Canada. What some people do is they go to, well, there's places online now because everyone, not everyone, but you know, everyone has laser cutters and stuff now. We used to go to the industrial park in Cape Coral and we could, I lost my ruler. See what happens? You guys sidetracked me. we can go to the industrial park and give them a measurement and like show them this ruler and say how thick we want it, and they can cut you out a plastic square. So you might not have all the lines on it, but you can at least have something that's a 2.5-inch square. You can have it cut out for you. Yeah, shipping and import, that would definitely get you in a lot of trouble. There we go. Solve that problem. See, a lot of times like this is dark, so if you can just flip it over, you have a better chance of seeing, unless you're doing some type of fussy cut. There are fussy cut rulers too that you can find. While we're rulering it, let me show you one more thing that came in recently. I can never remember which drawer to go in. This is a big craze right now over on Instagram. I remember doing this in 2008, the Quilt As You Go, but Missouri Star makes rulers for things that we didn't have rulers for. So there is their traditional green colored ruler. There's probably something on it that I have to peel off. So they have the Quilt As You Go hexagons, 2.5-inch hexagons. So I'm sure at some point we'll do this too and just work on it. Because this is the one where you put like a charm square or whatever, your pieces in there, your 2.5-inch hexagon, or the smaller part on the inside, and then you have your background and you bring it over like when you use the back of your quilt for the binding, and you bring it over and then you hand stitch it or you machine sew it down. So we'll have to come up with a project for that also, but I have that little drawer full of all the novelty rulers. Hi Jennifer from Arizona. Yes, it's sweltering today, isn't it? Oh, excellent, Giovanna. Yeah, sometimes that's just what you have to do. Becky, I did them. I was telling a friend, when I had my first shoulder surgery, I always want to say soldier, my shoulder surgery in 2008, I couldn't use my right arm, so I had to come up with something. I was really into like crocheting and everything then, so I was doing the pentagon and the hexagons, and I was making projects with those. So whoops, wrong way. So that worked out really well. So that's when I started learning about doing the Quilt As You Go hexagons. But I don't know if that was what they were called back then. Might have been something different. But I made a lot of projects with that too, because it's great to make little hot pads and table runners and stuff like that. I mean, with the big ones like that, people are making quilts. But that's fun. Try not to buy specialized rulers that I would use only, exactly, just like kitchen appliances. You don't want to buy a kitchen appliance if you're only going to use it for one thing, unless it's something really amazing that, you can't do without it. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue. Here is my purple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so purple, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What? So that'd be 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll do this one. Throw in a little of the tie-dye. A little bit of this. I'll bring in a dark. Why not? We can. Can you tell I love purple? I use that a lot. We do a lot of rainbow projects with my patrons. It just ends up working out that way. Oh, this one's just hard to see in general. But I have the little donuts on this because the Missouri Star rulers, I'm not sure what it is with them, but they're extra slickery. They really slide. I don't use, if I'm trimming, I have a 4.5-inch ruler. Excuse me, but if I'm trimming a block to 2.5 inches, I still go for the 6.5-inch ruler because I like to be able to put my hand on it to really hold down on it, because if it's just a little one, I can't put enough force and pressure down to keep everything from slip sliding around. So that doesn't, excuse me while I do the old lady squint. So that doesn't really work for me, so I need to make sure I have a larger ruler. So the 2.5 one I only use for boxing the corners. They have They have that specialty tool that it's all the different sizes for the tote bag corners on one tool. But I'm like, I don't need that. That doesn't do anything for me. I can just take out my little ruler. I have the 2.5 and I have the 4.5, so I'm covered no matter what size I want to do. I mean, I can break out a bigger ruler if I need to. So I don't use it, but I do have some for, thanks Laura. I know some people are like, Robin, you talk too much, but those are the people that are just used to like not talking videos and TikToks and stuff. Everyone else has been very kind because you never know what might come out of my mouth. I mean, we're working on this, but look, we just had a whole discussion about wild pigs in, I almost said Australia, wild hogs in Arizona. We did a ruler discussion. We talked about different things to put on the back of the ruler to make them less slickery and stuff. Someone's going to yell at me because I didn't close my rotary cutter and I almost touched it, but you didn't see nothing. Nothing. You talk too much. Just to let everyone know, Jody talks more than me, so when she says she talks too much, she's right. And I don't want to tease Anna, but Anna likes to talk like I do too. I don't know if you talk as much as, you know, like when we do emails and messages back and forth, but Anna likes to talk like I do. We can both get off onto, and that's said in the kindest, most loving way, but Anna and I can get off into wild things. Jody can talk to herself and carry on a conversation. Sometimes I just have to join in, listen, pop in when I can, but I don't know. I told my kids, you know, it depends on the time of day when you come and hang out with me, because after 4 or 5 o'clock, I get a little more fidgety and bored and lonely, and I tend to, I want to put more red in, and I tend to start talking out loud, singing, and just making noise, and that's when my poor kitty cats freak out. Giovanna likes the chitty chatty. I'm glad you guys do. I don't see the point, if you don't enjoy a channel and it doesn't fit your need, then you just move on to the next channel, because not everything is going to be for everyone. I try channels out for a few weeks, a few months, few videos, and if they fit with me, great, and if not, then I just move on to the next one. Ooh, let's put some stars in. Or do I want to, no, I want to do a 4th of July something, so I'm going to save those. I'm just really, now we're just sitting here talking and we're not actually accomplishing anything, but this one's not like a tutorial style live stream. We're just, apparently it's a summer of rainbows and we're just having fun and chitter chatting, see what everyone's doing. What are you guys working on this summer? Is anyone doing an amazing, see, I have some more stars to go with something. Guys going somewhere fun, doing anything fun. This is it for me. This is like, I've reached the age where this is the excitement for me. If I get to sew this week, I'm going to be so excited. I just keep telling myself, if you're doing all the household stuff now, you won't have to do it later. This is what you do now. I'm really, Giovanna, I'm not being picky, really. I'm just trying to find ones that'll fit in with the color scheme. Chatter's fun. Yeah, you chat with your friends, you never know. I saw that spray, Sandy, the grippy stuff. It's one of the things, sometimes I have to sit with it. Do I want to spend the money on something? I don't know if it works. Is someone else told me it works, so I'll try it. And then other times I'm like, you know what, forget it. I'm just going to spend the money and give it a chance. I like to put things in I have a wish list on Amazon, but I have another list that's called to be researched. So when I see something, like if someone says, hey, try the grippy spray, I'll go ahead and I'll put that in my to be researched. And then one day when I'm bored and I can't think and I don't want to do anything, I'll just go through and say, let me look at stuff and see. Can we put some pink? I mean, can we? Of course we can, but can we put some pink here now? And then I'll go ahead and I'll research those things and see if it's something that I want to purchase. That's nice, Giovanna. I'm glad you're making some buddies online. You just hang out in the chats. People come back and talk. Sometimes, Yeah, my poor cats. I told them, my kids, I said, my cats aren't used to like loud noises and people talking and stuff. Because I have headphones on all day, so they don't hear a TV going. They don't hear me, they hear me talking a little bit now and then, but I don't talk a lot or anything until later in the day. And at that point, they're awake, so they're more ready to be chitter chatter with me too. You have to be careful to make sure you don't have two pieces together. But back with the specialty rulers, I did pick up I think I picked up a half square triangle ruler from Creative Grids. Because if you put things in lists, there was some type of it's called camel, I think. And if you put it in a list on Amazon and use the camel thing, it'll tell you when it goes on sale. So I'll put things in a list, and then when it goes on sale, I'll pick it up. So that was probably one of the things, because we've just done it so much and made so many half square triangles that we needed to do that. What should we put here though? Should we go ahead and put an orange here? You use some clear flat dots, but they aren't very good. So I like to watch and listen. I can sew and listen. Yeah, I can't watch the tutorials where it's just music because I'm busy doing something and I can't sit there and watch it. Blue? You want a blue? I can do blue. Ooh, how about more of a tealy blue? Or, ooh, since we have a lot of the tie-dye stuff, we can finish it off with that blue. I like that. You have a vote, but you get no vote. If I don't look up, you can't tell me. No. I've been making some food, and I was craving chicken thighs. So I bought some chicken thighs, and I thought, well, I don't know if anyone watches Frugal Fit Mom, but she does a lot of how to save on grocery bills, how to utilize your pantry and stuff. And I know the process and stuff, so I just kind of watch it to have listening to noise in the background and stuff. But she was showing in this past week, I think it comes out on Wednesdays or something. She was showing how you look for sales, and if maybe you don't go grocery budget shopping this month, but you stock up on sales, so for the next 2-3 months you don't have to go out and buy like a lot of food, you just buy your perishables. And that's something that I've done for a very long time with the pantry. I just do that. So I was like, if I'm gonna buy some chicken, let me stock up on all of it. So I bought chicken thighs, and I bought chicken breasts, and I also purchased the chicken quarters. So I had to cut the quarters apart. And when you buy chicken quarters in that really cheap 87 cents a pound, that red and white clear plastic type bag, you buy the big 10-pound thing at like Walmart and stuff. So I bought that. So I had to cut the leg off of the thigh. You take the skin and all the funky stuff off of it. That does run into that problem, Giovanna. Not you have to, but one of the things I do is when I have a little bit of money, I might set a little bit aside. But if you're doing the thing like Frugal Fit Mom showed, is if your budget is $300 this month for grocery shopping, if you're buying the sales, then you're not buying other food because you're going to make your meals from whatever you just purchased. So if you're spending $200 of your $300 budget buying your meats and stuff because there's an amazing sale, like she'll buy a giant 10-pound box or 25-pound box of bacon, but then she won't have to buy bacon for 6 months or something. So it sounds hard and weird to understand, but it does balance out in the end. 1/4 inch seam, 2.0 stitch length, because new people like to know that. I am wearing shoes today to sew because my feet hurt because I haven't worn shoes in a few days. I don't like to sew with shoes on, but I'm doing it. Now, my thing is I'm a column stitcher, so I separate all of these to columns. And if you've been with me for a while, you might have learned, like I have, that I twist all of my projects, my blocks between here and here, 12 to 18 inches, and I get my blocks because I pick them up and I turn them to the sewing machine. So the little trick that I've been doing, first I started by putting clips on it, but I take column 1, right side up, column 2, and I put it right side down, but I leave a space about half an inch or so I can see the bottom fabric, and I know now that that's the seam I need to sew. If you were with me for the live stream when we did the 3D, what was it, bow tie block, I think, or 3D pinwheel block, I think that's what it was. I messed that block up probably 3-4 times during the live stream just because I kept twisting all of the pieces. So I go ahead and I do that. So now I can take it to the machine, and when I go from here to here, I'll go ahead and I know this, take it right to here, and then I can line this up, and I know that's the seam, and I'll just sew it. And that saves me so much trouble on seam ripping and all of that. I'll take my little Scrappy bit off. 5-pound bag of drumsticks for $5 special, and got a bag, divided it up and put it in the freezer. Exactly. And since it's only me, then I will just eat whatever's in the house. I don't care. I don't care if I eat a peanut butter and fluff sandwich for dinner. I don't care. Last night I had chicken thighs and potato salad with baked beans. Yummy. See, I don't use an air fryer very much. I just go ahead and put it right in the pan fried. I like to take the skin off ahead of time because I don't like that, like when you fry something and it gets that weird melty fat between the skin and the chicken and stuff. I don't like that, so I just take the skin off ahead of time. Crispy skin is only good for those 30 seconds that it's crispy, then it just becomes a rubber band, and I don't like that. It's gross. Plus you're saving on fat, so I pull the skin off. I buy food when they're near expiration date and it's 50% discount. I don't have the rhythm of the stores here, so I don't know what time of day and what days. I don't know where the clearance aisles are. And a lot of the stores have the membership cards. I don't have those yet. So for now, I'm just doing Walmart. And I decided when it gets cooler and I'm more comfortable with living here, now we're going to go to row 2. I have 2 options. I can take one of my scraps. I call these spiders because these are all the legs coming off the spider. I can take one of these and stitch it in. You can do, if you're doing leader enders. Once I cut all of my scraps into 2 or 2.5 inch squares, I'll start doing leader enders. But if I put this in now, then I know that's the end of that first column. If I call it row, my apologies. Or when I put this one on, I'll show you what I do just to keep organized. So I put that one on, I immediately stop what I'm doing. I take that first column, make it all nice and neat, and I lay it down. And there, now I go do the next one. And that helps to keep me organized and in line. And I saw a trick. Let me sneak over here for a second. You know how you can pay money and spend good money for those? One second, I'll find them. Still getting used to stuff. They have those, they have pins and clips with letters, the ABCs and the numbers. I saw someone, I don't have my Sharpie right here, but they just took one, whoops, step on the microphone cord, Robin. They take one of these flower pins, and they just put like an A on it with a Sharpie marker. Come on, there you go. See how there's an A on it? And on another one, you can put the number 1 on it, right? So now you know that this is column A, row 1, or however it works for you. And now you've already purchased these really cheap somewhere, or you received them as a gift for Christmas or something. So you don't have to, sorry people with the alphabet things, the alphabeties or whatever. You can just write them on that. So now you have a multi-use. You can have your pins and use them to keep yourself organized. So you would take that A pin and you would clip it if you went and put them all in a stack, or you can pin it into here so you know that's your first row if you're sewing an entire quilt and columns and stuff. I thought that was pretty brilliant. I thought that's great because I like to find a way to use something I already have and not spend extra money. We haven't had a crock pot in a while. I gave my crock pot to my kids, and then something happened, and we just haven't gotten a new crock pot because we want a crock pot that either it's digital or they have the ones that are low, medium, and high. We want ones that we can dial it into a number. I had it a crock pot that my grandmother had. Hey, that's not an inch and a half. I didn't trim that fully down. That's not an inch and a half. That's not an inch and a half. All right, so the question is, red, orange, uh-oh. Yeah, Jeopardy plays in my head when I'm thinking, red, orange. Do we not have a yellow up? Oh, the yellow's in my machine. All right. Red, orange, yellow. So blue would be on the bottom. We'll figure it out when we get there. It can be flipped around, but I just wanted to check. Yeah, isn't that a great little idea? I've seen it a few times over the years, but I saw it again recently, and I'm like, I need to share that idea. Uh-oh, Jody got caught. Yeah, it's nice when you can set it and forget it. I did that a lot when the kids were young, or, anytime when I was cooking for them. Now it's just me, so I like to meal prep and meal plan as if I'm leaving the house to go to work. And that way, like tonight, I made 3 chicken thighs yesterday. I ate a whole chicken thigh and potato salad with baked beans, and I was stuffed last night. So tonight, I might do like 3/4 of one, or I'll have less potato salad. But I made 3 thighs. They were bone in. I wanted boneless because I really like how flat and everything is. I'll just have to take the bone out next time because I like it really seared and everything. But now I don't have to cook dinner for 3 days, and I don't mind eating chicken and potato salad for 3 days. And I've been eating tossed salad or salad whatever. I eat that almost all year long. So, okay, now I could put another piece of fabric in here. Don't get the low, medium, high one. Mine, you choose how long. Yeah, the 2 hours, the 4 hours, and the temperature and stuff. Oh, I need to take this one out. We want to be able to do that. We want to be able to adjust. Now, we have the crock pot, Instant Pot. Justin, when I was still living alone, Justin's like, hey, this is on sale for like crazy. It was like $25 or something. He says, you should get this. He says, I got it and I love it. So I'm like, okay, I got it. So now we have 2 of those. He actually took his back to Florida, so I still have mine. It has a crock pot feature, but the Instant Pots are round and the crock pots are more oval, oblong and stuff. So we do miss having the crock pot. So we'll probably get one, but we're holding out for the one we want. So I do this. Things take longer when you're sitting here and chatting with people. So I kind of press mine out just to see, just finger pressing. This is the only time I do any type of pressing. And I just come through my little snippers. I don't leave these all connected. You can and do, it's like spider webbing it. But I tend to get things more confused that way. So I do this. Now there's only 2, 4, 5. So I'm going to put this on here. I'll just grab it as I go because there's no directionality of these except maybe this one. And I'll just sew this on. Now with my mug rugs, I always use single fold binding. I've been doing 1.5 inch, 1.25 for a couple of years now. It's so much easier and I like how thin and flat it is. So I can go back into my bin here and I can pull out some of the shorter ones, sew them together, and I can have rainbow binding around it. But I didn't plan ahead, but I was thinking I might want like a white or a black polka dot or something. But since I have the white fabric right here, I'll probably use white. Justin moved back to Florida in the middle of April because he's in love. And he was in a growing relationship, and they wanted to see how it was going to be, and they were apart for that short amount of time. We got here like February 20 whatever, right? 25th, we'll say. And then he left like April 17th. So they're in love. He's 36 and she's like 25, 6, 7, 8 or something. So they were like, oh, we miss each other too much. We're in love. So he moved back to be with her to try the relationship, because you have to try. You don't want to always wonder what if. So they're doing that thing to see how it is. But we still will always have a bedroom for him. So if it works, great. If it doesn't work, well, then he'll be back. Sometimes that's just how things work out. 6-quart crock pot, yes. Western ribs, yum. I don't know what that is, but it sounds yum. Chicken thigh with lemon juice. I used lemon pepper. I'm not going to even worry about pressing these. So I'm just going to take this and put it right on there. And sew these. Love does change everything, and Justin's a sweetheart. He has a very gentle, soft, giving heart. So when he commits to something, he commits hard, you know. So he's such a sweetheart, big teddy bear. We'll see how things work out for him. I would never jinx a relationship for any of my kids. But I was spoiled. You guys tell me all the time how spoiled I am and how lucky I am to have my kids all together, let alone, you know, the same city, same state, but in the same house with me. So it's been very nice. It's been very quiet and lonely here. It's just Robbie and I. And Robbie leaves at 7:30 in the morning, doesn't come home till 5:30 at night, Monday through Friday. So basically, it's for those of you who are like, I don't know how you can live with your kids. Real easy. Nobody's here. Even when my daughter, when she's actually going to be home and working, she works 12-hour days, so she won't be here either. Pork bean soup. I love bean soup. Throw some pork in it. My daughter works at Mission Barbecue, and they take brisket. They take the leftover. Because when you're cutting a brisket, there's like brisket tips and stuff that they don't put on people's plates. So they take those tips and they shred them up or chunk them up and they put them in their baked beans. Now that sounds very yummy. I may be a flexitarian and I don't eat meat a lot, but when I do want meat, oh, my iron's not ready. Darn it. I do like some bits of meat here and there, and that just sounds really good to me. Oh, poor Jody's hungry. Yeah, it's 12 o'clock. I usually have lunch about 11:15 or so. So I made homemade peanut butter cups last night. So I had a little bit of yogurt and some peanut butter cups around 10 o'clock. That was my brunch because I do a protein drink that I make in the morning, and then that's all I have for breakfast. Yeah, we are full of like allergies and personal preferences and all kinds of stuff here in this house. Food talk is always fun, isn't it, Costanza? I love food talk. Oh, this cord. Oh, yeah, the big Oliso iron, the cord is really long. I tuck it down between, because I have an ironing table and my sewing table here. And I tuck it down and it hangs down on the floor and loops around and stuff. Excuse my face. I'm not sure how, I keep using this one periodically. I'm not sure how I feel about this one. The big one is, oh my gosh, someone tested it and it's like 400 degrees that it gets up to. It is so hot. It makes it really hard to work on small projects with it. This one, I know it gets hot, but this one doesn't seem to steam a lot. You have a front steamer and a back steamer, so you have steam holes here and there. And I just don't know how I feel about it yet. It doesn't seem to, I'm an aggressive presser. I want it hot, I want it heavy, and I hit it hard. And this one, it's good. I'm not saying anything about it. It's just taken me a little bit more to get used to it. I'm getting my clappers. The cats definitely don't like when I march in place and I use the clappers, because sometimes it gets so quiet that I just need to be loud and really, annoying. Dinner is a long way off here. It's only noon, so. I love steam. You're not supposed to use steam. Steam makes things get all out of kilter, and I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing. Now, with the 1.5, it's not too bad like this, but if it's a 2-inch strip or more, if I go like this, I get that. You can see in the seam where it bows in the center. This way, it works out pretty good. I can still do this, and I can hold one end and adjust it, but it's on steam. It's on all the way steam, and it just doesn't do too much. Okay, this one went to the blue, so this one needs to go to the orange. It's a very quiet iron. It's really nice. It doesn't make a lot of noise. That one went to the orange, so it needs to go to the red. So put the red there. I'm aggressive. So we have Terry. Hi, Terry. Do you ever have problems with your Liso feet not retracting? I stopped using mine because it was so frustrating. You know, Becky, it was really weird because yesterday or whatever day I was actually using the iron, I had my hand on it because the big one, if you have your hand on the handle, then the feet stay in. If you take your hand off, it comes out. I had my hand like this, and I went to go press, and the feet came out, and I'm like, what happened? And then the feet retracted, and I'm like, well, that's weird. The problem I'm having, at first I thought it was because I wasn't letting the iron heat up enough, but even when the iron's nice and hot on the big one, water just comes out of it still. I still get blobs of water coming out, and I only mention that because it specifically says it does not leak. And mine's brand new because I bought it just before moving here. This one I got after moving here. Now, so no iron can do what it says it can do. That's all I've determined. This one has to go to this blue. So that's the problem I'm having. I have to be really careful. I just can't use the big iron to press open seams. I can't do it because too much steam comes out. Now, I could turn the steam off, of course. No, I can't. I have to have the steam on, right? So put that out of my way. Sometimes I just put these up like this, and I take my big old iron and I steam it. And then I can put this one on, and I'll put this big guy on, and then we're good to go. I like the Oliso. I can't tell you if it's worth the price. I can't tell you if this is $100 or $125 or whatever. I can't tell you if the big one's worth $225. I haven't had them long enough. If they last and the quality stays good for more than 2 years, then I'd say yes, it was worth the investment. It does a lot of things. It works as a prime, higher level, more expensive iron as you would expect it to. But man, I had a Walgreens $15, $10 one when I first started sewing. That thing lasted me like 6, 7 years. I did clothes, I did quilts. I loved that thing, but I could never buy it again. It was just a simple Black & Decker. Things aren't made as well as they used to be. You find the mini to be too hot? I find maybe yours is oops, maybe mine's oops, but I have a gun that I can point at it. I just don't know where it is for making handmade soap and stuff. It's packed in the soap box would be my guess. But I don't know what this temperature goes to. I was watching an Instagram video about them. It gets hot and everything, and it's fine for little projects, but I would not make an entire quilt with this. I might make the blocks, but I want the big iron for, you know, when you're doing miles and miles of stuff. I don't use this when I make tote bags or anything, but it is great for smaller projects and stuff. I only got the 2 of them because they're so cute, and I thought that the big one was hard to make little 1.5-inch projects like this. Using the big one on this would have been overkill, so you kind of needed both of them. Needed as in a loose term because I did not need to purchase these. These were, you sold your house, you're working on your career, you're moving to Arizona, you're going to give yourself a little reward. That's what these were. If I were still living in my house and I didn't move to Arizona, I never would have bought those irons. And that's just because of the cost. I couldn't, come up with a good reason on why to purchase something that expensive. Your Rowenta gets hotter. I think Rowenta was on one of the top of the lists for the hot irons that they were testing. They were at some type of a quilt retreat, so everyone had different irons, so they just tested them all out to see how they worked. I was using the same iron. I just kept buying it every couple of years. It was like a $15 iron from Amazon, but the last time I purchased it, it only lasted a couple months and then it died, and when I got a replacement, it just didn't do very well. So that's when I switched to different irons. That's when I went on the quest to find an iron that works for me. Hi Denise. I'm sorry if I didn't see you before, but if this is your first comment. Hi Denise. I have the large. Oh, I'm going to guess that Allison is the Oliso, that autocorrect got you. I tried just using the spray and stuff, but I am 100%. I'm a steamy girl. I tried behaving and not doing that, but I just have to have the steam. Now with these little patches, I'm not too particular if this isn't perfect. It's going to be a mug rug, or I'm thinking more like a coaster. But I do bring out my little clippies. And I do like to clip these. Normally I'll just manipulate it, and there's not much space, so I'm just going to clip every other seam. I was watching someone's video or something. They had only like the neon green. This is a yellow, but they only had neon green clips, a whole big container of them. I thought, oh, I like the fact that all the clips match. Because a lot of the times I'll go through and I'll just pull out only the purple ones. And on these, some of them, like I know the red ones don't have much spring strength to them. So I only use those on certain things. And if I wanted to really hold, like on zippers, I go for other colors. So I will clip these so I don't have to worry, because there's not many stitches between one seam and the next for me to stop and realign it and adjust it at the sewing machine. We pay so much for these irons, and it's just disappointing that they don't work like they should, right? It's crazy. And that's a Tula Pink Oliso. So that's like the, ooh, Tula Pink, everyone wants Tula Pink. Ooh, Oliso, everyone wants Oliso. The feet go up. It's supposed to be, you know, the golden standard. And it's a really great iron, and I'm not saying anything bad about it, but I think sometimes they're overpriced. Now, I do like the Tula Pink, and that's the reason I purchased it too, as, you know, another strong point to it, because I wanted it for the videos. They're really fun looking and stuff like that. It makes me smile when I pull it out. But I can use a generic one for $10, $20. That makes me happy too. I bought one at Bed Bath & Beyond once that I really liked. But I use irons a lot. I use them with water in it. Sorry, people, I use them with water. And I used hard water, so I know what happens. Now we're on city water here, and back in Florida had city water. And it's supposed to, now this one, the big one has a filter, a little cartridge in there that's supposed to keep the hard water from being bad for the iron. It softens it up or whatever. And that was another reason I purchased it. But now we just have to wait and see. We'll have to come back in a year and see how they're doing and if they still work. I tried, Giovanna. I really tried doing the spritz. And I do spritz too, even with the steam. I'll spritz like these seams are going to be really close together. If they come out too thick, I would go ahead and spritz it and steam it. But I just can't get the same effect that I'm looking for just by spritzing. Maybe because my irons weren't hot enough without having the steam on. I don't know. Maybe it's just, sometimes really it's just our perception. We perceive things to be a certain way and it really isn't. I still have to stop and realign a little bit, because once you take the clip off, everything moves. Maybe you can pin from the other side and you won't have to do it. I don't know. Sometimes I just let go of my worries and I just let something be crooked. The more I practice on things, the better I get. and then I have less things to worry about. Now with small strips like this, I always stop and press them instead of sewing the whole thing together, because I should never have moved the ironing board. Excuse my face again. I find that I can get a straighter seam line if I press in between like this. If I were just to take this whole piece and press it, my seams get wavy. I like that you can change this left-handed and right-handed, but I really wish it came out the back or it had a swivel to it, because it does get in my way all the time. I put water in, I want steam, yes. Now, these irons say do not put distilled water in them. Because in the past, that was my plan, but it specifically says do not put distilled water. It's made for, and if you do put distilled because that's your only option or whatever, you do half and half or something like that. Now, I will further press this seam later. Yeah, that's how it goes. But for now, I'll just leave it like this. And I think I'll go ahead and put this piece on. I'm just going to double check. Red, orange, yellow. Oh, I did do it. Look, look, look. I have an oopsie. And you know what? I'm not going to fix the oopsie on this one. I swapped my green and my blue. Fix the oopsie, don't fix the oopsie. It's going to be a quirk. I'm just going to leave it. It's just a little fun little thing. You put a mug on it, you're not going to see. But I did mess it up when I was doing that. So I didn't double check because we were chatting and I forgot. So I had that flipped. And see how easy it is for me to flip things? That's going to be it. Now, there is a trick I can do too, because if I want to put this in the shop, I can take one of my labels. This is a side label, and put it right over there, and that'll change it up and it really won't matter. So you can kind of hide something. You can put an applique bit on there. I have 3 different labels. So if I put this together and I'm like, oh no, well, I can take my little label. It's really cute. It's got the little heart on it. Yeah, you're still going to notice, but if I put that label on here and stitch it down, it's going to cover up the 2 blues together and hide my little oopsies. So I think that's what we'll do this time. I don't normally put my labels in the front because I feel like that's a little obnoxious to me. And you do what works for you, but sometimes it feels, I can have a giant tote bag and I don't want to put this little inch label on because I feel like I'm shoving my business in someone's face. But this is a little coaster. This is fun. Becky, I was thinking about that the other day, and I'm like, what is it coming? Something quilt's coming. Is it this winter, next spring? Yes, that's my plan to go to QuiltCon. I need to make myself a QuiltCon tote bag. Now, this time I have more to hold on to instead of just a little strip, so I probably won't put the clips on because sometimes my thoughts don't make sense, but it works for me, and really, when it comes down to it, that's all that matters. And also, if you made this and you were worried about those 2 strips being in the wrong spot, flip everything around and mix it all up, and then it won't look like you mixed up a spot. If you change so it's no longer red, orange, yellow, rainbow, you flip it so the red's here and the orange is there, then it just looks like you used rainbow fabrics to make a scrappy little mug rug. Something's not lining up, but that'll work. Sometimes it looks like one piece is bigger because when your seams is pressed one way or the other way, it can make the piece of fabric look bigger. But once you nest the seams, it all fits together. Right now for my little spider webs, I'm only doing rainbow colors. And I'm going to put them in a jar afterwards so that I can have all these fun little scrappy bits. Just because I'm weird. Excellent, Laura. I'm glad you could be here. Sometimes things just... See, it gets in my way. Sometimes things just work out. See see, it needs something. So I'll spritz it with a little water, or if I were to use fusible fleece to put it, sometimes I will press the seams open. And sometimes I just say, hey, Robin, it's just a little mug rug. Get over it. It'll be fine. But see, it doesn't feel like it's a big time steamer. And this one, it squeaks a lot. It creaks. Like maybe it's old. That's all. So I have this one. So there we go. That goes there. See, so if you messed up or something, maybe you want to take this one and put it up, put it on the side if that's the project, flip it around so that things don't line up perfectly, and it'll mix it all up and you won't see that mistake right there. Because mistakes don't always have to be a big deal. It's okay. Oh, February for my birthday. It's probably after my birthday, but still. My birthday is February 7th, so it'll be a good reason to celebrate. I want a Laura Star iron. He said, then get it. I sent him the link, and he had about a heart attack. And I won't be getting that one. How much are they, Laura? I don't think I've heard of those. Well, we can all meet at QuiltCon and do things around it. So I thought QuiltCon is perfect because I won't have to get a hotel or anything, so that'll be really nice. I'm not up for traveling too far right now, Jody. I'm really kind of just... I have been out and about more here than I have been in like the past 4 or 5 years. Because back home, there was nothing new to see. And now here, it seems like I'm always out. Plus, constantly going to Phoenix for my daughter. I've about got that figured out now. For those in the area, I think I take, Grand Avenue? I think that's 60. So I take that down to 7th, something or another. Me and Apple Maps, he's my buddy. He's really good because he knows me, the Apple Maps guy. He knows that I'm going to take the wrong turn, so he warns me ahead of time. He's like, stay in the far left lane. I'm like, thank you very much. My daughter laughs at me, but I thank Apple Maps guy all the time. I'm like, thank you, because I was just wondering, do I need to turn there? Hubby picked me up at the sewing machine shop once when I was at a class. He made the mistake of looking around. Uh-oh. Taking care of family members takes a lot. My husband never told me no either, but he's like, are you sure? He used to always like, get it. If you want it, get it. Because I don't get a lot, so when I want it, get it. Oh, Costanza, you're really close to me. $2,500, that's more than my sewing machine. I'm a little first of all, I wouldn't get that. That iron would have to have like a guarantee, like the Fiskars has the replacements and stuff. So I'm just going to spritz here. One day I'm going to throw it in my Amazon cart. They have the paint pens that are a paintbrush tip and it's a water tube. I think I actually have it in my wish list on Amazon. But you can take just that little bit, the paintbrush, and paint the seam with the water, and then because I try to spritz it, sometimes if you put too much water on it, you can distort the project you're working on. So having that little paintbrush, it's really good for when you're doing the paper piece and foundation paper piecing. You can wet the paper and it makes it easier to get off. Hubs and I have an agreement. We don't ask each other. Hubby and I had an agreement to a certain dollar amount that you can do what you want, but only per month. Because with my husband, if I say, okay, you can buy anything up to $100 without asking me, he'd be like, well, I bought these 7 things. They're each $100 each, so it's okay. I don't have to ask. I'm like, dear, there's only so much in the bank account, and we have to pay bills. You can't just do that. Now, one of the things you can do is when you have a piece like this, it's really great when you have a pressing mat that has like lines on it, but you can line it up and you can block it. So if you can, where's my pins? You can put pins in, and you can say, okay, because this seam is a little bit off. So if I spritz it and I have other pins that have the glass heads that are heat resistant, plus the magic pins or whatever. So you spritz it with a little water and you put it out like this and you block it to the size you need it to be, right? And you put extra pins in all along the edges wherever you need it. And you can take your iron and you can give it a little bit of steam and you can press it, and then you just let it sit there and let it dry. And when you take it and you take the pins out, instead of it sucking back in, it'll be the size you need it to. Sometimes I just pull a little as I'm ironing. I might say, oh, okay, this corner is a little short, so I'll pull on that a little bit, because mine, I have things going in all different directions. When you're playing with scraps, you don't know which way the stretch of the fabric is. So I just give it a little tug like that, and that allows me to get it to where I need it to be. So I can take things that are a little wonky and I can press them that way, and they'll end up where I want. So for this project, you're supposed to put that on here. So I'm not quite the right size, but there are extra bits on here. So this isn't the actual size anyways. You're supposed to line it up with the first line, and I guess you have a seam allowance first and blah, 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 and then put another piece on the back. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to find another piece of fabric. Let's see. Yeah, I'm sure the irons are very impressive. It's just, you have to decide, they're your tools, what is going to be worth it for you, and does it benefit me? Does it do what I need it to do? And then you save up for it, and if it's within your budget and it does what you need it to do, then you just go ahead and get it, because you should. If it's important to you and it's going to do what make your projects and your process easier, then I say get it. Because, you know, an electric drill or an electric screwdriver is a lot easier than sitting there and screwing it in all the time. So everyone has to decide what is important to them, but that's a lot of money. Some things are just amazing though, aren't they? I always liked going to the flea markets and seeing them just chop vegetables in those little chopper machines, or when they clean your glasses and they come out perfectly clean. Those always amaze me. Don't forget to hydrate. Diamonds Giovanna, have you seen the Oliso irons where they put all of the glittery stuff on it? Oh, that's crazy. I don't want my iron all bedazzled. Not clean. Well, I keep my sewing space very, very clean. I've gotten really good at that because it makes me feel better. So I like the way this looks even with the oopsie square, but I'm going to put I'm going to be crazy. I don't want to be crazy. I can't do it. I'm just going to leave it as an oopsie. I can't do it. I can't put my label right on there like that. I mean, I do have smaller labels, but I have the ones that stick out on the side. But I think I'll put a smaller label on the back. So I need to find a piece of fabric that is going to work on that, that's going to be kind of rainbowish. So I'm looking on the big stacks of fabric behind me, and I'm going to choose my fabric simply by whatever I have within proximity of my cord for me to grab. Oh, I know I have some purple fabric. Come on, cord. So I'm going to grab the purple from behind me. So I have my big purple bin. Now sometimes with coasters like this, I'll just pick a fabric that I don't want to use in regular quilting blocks. Some of these, not this plaid fabric, it's really good, but some of my other plaids are a little bit thin and not quite what I would want to put in a quilt. But for a coaster project like this, it works out great. Thanks, Jody. I love it when everyone hits the like button and you guys are subscribers. Did you guys see the new community blocks? So I have this sparkly purple. I think that'll work out really well. I don't put this in a lot of blocks just because ironing the sparkles is quite annoying. Maybe I have a plain fabric. That would look nice too. That I'm just like, oh, I don't want to use it. Oh, so here's one of those that's a little bit on the thinner side, but it's not big enough, and I really don't want to piece the back. I do end up having a lot of large purple scraps because I love my purples. And I have a lot of this, so I think I'll go ahead and use that. I haven't been able to sew on any of my scrap bins or anything. I'm really kind of frustrated about that. That's kind of got me a little bit irred. But it is what it is. And it's only the middle of June. I have time to do more things. It'll be fine. Exactly, Laura. Sometimes I'd rather buy. It would be nice if you could like go to a quilt shop. You know how you could rent time with a long arm? Can I rent some time with that fancy iron, please? I really like the way I don't know why I got that accent all of a sudden, but I really like the way it looks. Can I play with your tools a little? They say, hey, it's only a $20 ruler. Just buy it. If you don't like it, it's fine. Give it to a friend or just leave it on the shelf. But what if I buy 10 $20 rulers? Then I've just spent, $200 on things that I'm not using. Yeah, Giovanna, my bins are just sitting there. I haven't done anything. I just have been, I'm not slacking, but just everything else has just been so busy. And I worked up until 10 o'clock sewing and just doing little things for too long, because then I spent the whole week where the chronic pain said, no, Robin, you are crazy. I'm just cutting it a little larger because I don't mind. I'm not wasting fabric, but I need to give it a little bit more press, and I want to make sure it doesn't shrink up too much when I quilt it. And it just put me down for like a whole week where I was tired, I was hurting. So the time where I thought I felt great while working at night really kicked me in the butt. So I need to stop doing that. Also, I started my scarecrow cross stitch. So I want to do those things at night. I need to sit down and write myself a schedule, a very loose one, just a little routine schedule. Like if I want to do this, then I need to fill it in. So I don't go, oh, what was I going to do on Tuesday nights? So I don't mind standing up and doing the scraps onto the interfacing. That doesn't bother my body, but doing it too long does. So doing it till 10 o'clock at night is definitely a no-no. And then sewing and stuff is just really too much for me. This is already pre-quilted. I don't know how much quilting you need to do, but we're going to do what we want. I'm just going to treat it like batting. I would save my cotton scraps for this, or some fusible fleece scraps I would do it with. But today we are just going to do on the batting that already came because it's here. Why waste it? Even though, we're not doing what they want us to do. Everything on the rash, I looked it up. It's weeping eczema. So it's all finally drying up. The problem with having something on your hands is you're constantly washing your hands or washing dishes or something, so nothing has a chance to dry up. So it's finally drying up, but it's starting to also crack at the seams. So I have to be careful. That really hurt. Hubby and I have been together for 35 years. He knows I don't spend money on frivolous things. So when it's time to spend money on something like that, if it's something you're going to use and you want, then it works out perfectly fine because you've spent all these other years, being careful on what you purchase. Sometimes you just have to do what you have to do. Oopsies are always in my projects, Denise. Yes, sometimes people are like, Robin, when your pictures come up on a video or Instagram, we know it's you just by your fabric choices and stuff. I do the same thing. I'll be scrolling through. I'll be like, wow, I really love that. I'm going to watch that video. Oh, that's my video. Never mind. But I really just I was looking at my Instagram, and I really just like the colors. This is Spray and Bond basing adhesive. I get this 7.2 ounce can on Amazon. It is $10. It is not frivolous, but it could be wasteful. But I've decided that going without it, I've done projects with and without it, that I really like the finished effect that it gives. It helps out on my quilting and stuff. It makes everything lay nice and flat. So I just try to be careful and not use too much. And that's an expense that I'm willing to spend. So I just go lightly. And if I don't get too close or too far away or too wild, it doesn't spray all over. This is really, it's a little tacky here because it dribbled out of the can because the can's almost empty. New cans do much better, but I really like it. I use it all the time. A little bit at a time, Giovanna, a little bit at a time. Ow! That was not my funny bone. Oh, that hurt. Well, sometimes when I work too late at night, I fall asleep at the sewing machine. I don't know if you guys do it at all, but my head will go down and it'll just rest on the sewing machine. And I'll be like, yeah, no, 5 more minutes, 10 more minutes, I'm good. No, you just keep falling asleep, crazy lady. So I'm just going to do things and get back on track. And once all the household stuff's done, I can get back into sewing. This summer break is meant for me to get ahead in the Etsy shop and to do all of my spreadsheets for my financials and stuff. And I haven't done that yet. But my daughter was home. My son had a friend for a 4-day weekend for Memorial Day in May. My daughter was home for a vacation the beginning of June, and her friend came with her and spent several days here. And even though they weren't home, it still affected my routine and schedule. And then I had to do this, that, and the next thing. And now it's what? It's June 15th, so it's not that far into the month. So I'll get everything situated and get caught up. And I just need to spend some time sitting at the computer. I just looking because my batting, it just got a little bit past. Ooh, hot, hot, hot. Scooch it up. See, now this way I don't have to put pins in or anything, and I can just do a little bit of quilting. Now, this batting isn't mine, but my batting, the batting that I use is 100% cotton, and it only needs to be quilted every 8 to 10 inches. So for a project like this, I wouldn't need to quilt it at all. I'm a little hesitant not to quilt this, but I don't know that I want to use white thread. So I think I'm going to get another colored thread. Maybe I'll do purple so it doesn't show up too much on the back, a light purple. And that way it won't be so white on there. I try to have theme days like Tired Tuesday, Wash 'em Up Wednesdays, remind me to take a day off. Yes. Sandy, I am feeling a lot better. I am sleeping. I go to bed. I go to bed around 10 something. I have a little alarm that goes off on my phone. It says the lullaby song from the Apple phones. And it tells me at 10:28 that I better be in bed. And then I'm asleep either before that alarm goes off or just a little bit afterwards. I always wake up at like 2:30 in the morning to use the restroom. And then I sleep until 5:30. And that's like the longest. 6-7 hours is the longest I've slept in a long time. Uh-oh. Robbie was getting something out of the pizza pan cabinet. It's just one of those tall cabinets on the side by the stove, and we have like the pizza pans in there, and they don't fit right, so they're always falling over. And I don't know if you heard that big metal crash, but that's what that was. Robbie makes amazing pizza. His pizza crust is just crazy amazing. But I'm feeling better. I was listening to one of my videos. I feel like my voice sounds a little better other than today. Oh, look, purple's right on top. That's the one I want. So I'm feeling better. The headaches from the allergies and stuff are better. That mess that I had when we first moved here, I feel better. I've done too much, so the chronic pain is still a little bit kind of funky right now. But I would say, yeah, I feel better. The stress of moving, do I feel better because we've moved? Do I feel better because of Arizona? I'd probably have to say, yeah, I feel better living here in Arizona. It's just this area was not what I expected. I expected something a little bit different. And come to find out, I tell my kids all the time, I expected an hour north of me. The Arizona that I expected to live in wasn't in the valley, in the desert. See, I have all my bobbins ready to go. So that's what my problem was. I was expecting a little bit more green. I wasn't expecting city life. Surprise, it's very populated. I heard that it was, but some of the videos I saw must have been from the outskirts of it, where there isn't as many houses. Always clip your thread from the top and pull it out of your machine the way it comes out when you sew. When you pull it backwards and you pull it from the thread spool out, it takes all of the lint because of the way it's spun. It pulls it all up backwards. It's like petting a cat backwards. It brings it all out and it sticks extra lint in your machine. Go figure. That's something I learned a few years ago, and it does seem to make a difference. My daughter wears gloves to be in water, and at night wears the cotton. I've thought about the cotton gloves. I can't wear any of the gloves to do like dishes and stuff. Most of them are latex or some type of a rubbery substance, and that just, first it feels gross, it smells gross, and it just makes my hands break out more. So that doesn't work for me. You can use a glue stick. I've done glue sticks. You can use liquid glue, but I haven't perfected it enough. I always end up feeling the ridge of the liquid glue. I do use the Elmer school glue when I put the binding down. I am almost out of glue. I haven't been to the Dollar Tree since like February. I have such a long list of things that I need to pick up. When I go to the Dollar Tree, it's going to be $100 at least. People look at me like I'm weird when I'm at the Dollar Tree and I spend like $150, $200. But I only do it, so many times a year, and I've stocked up on things like cleaning supplies and everything. And it adds up quick anyway. I don't just run in and get, dental picks or something. I run in and I get like 50, 60, 70 things. Plus I might buy 4 of one thing. I'm not shopping at the Dollar Tree. Well, I am shopping because it's cheaper, but I'm also shopping because of what they have. Come on, Bobbin. We need to do our waste thread thing. I still have all of my thread that I'm saving. I've seen a few projects and I'm zeroing in on what I want to do. I will stitch a little on my scrap just to bring the thread up. Hi, Kim. You can use glue stick as well. I go to sleep at 1 a.m. and get up at 7. I'm not good. Sometimes I stay up till 1 or 2 in the morning, and then get up at like 6 or 7. I laugh all the time. I'm like, I slept in today. I slept in until 6 or 6:30. I'm like, that's funny. I usually get up at like 5, 6, 5:30, somewhere in there. The inflammation, Sandy, that's what's really made a big difference, that I don't feel inflamed all the time. I guess without the humidity and stuff, there's not so much inflammation going on, and that really makes a big difference. I'm trying to figure out the new bed. I had a new bed, a twin size one. The mattress was new in Florida, but this bed, all right, I'm going to the center, the needle location, and mine automatically goes to 2.4. So I'm like, okay, 2.4 sounds nice. You can use some fun fancy stitches on it. Do we have any fancy stitches that feel like I would want it? Nah. I really don't use many of the fancy stitches on my machine. And I am just going to basically go to the left of the seam, just a smidge. Sometimes it'll be stitch in the ditch, sometimes it'll be stitch on the seams, I don't know. Now, since it's been spray basted, I would normally change to the walking foot if I was doing a bigger project, but for this little one, it's fine. And then I'm going in the same direction, because if you start going in other directions, it makes it pucker a little bit. The washable glue stick for binding. Yeah, I just do better with the point of it, of the liquid glue. The Dollar Tree does have a lot of great stuff for crafting and things, and a lot of cleaning supplies I get there. Oh, a bee. That sounds like fun. The squirrels. Oh, yeah, you could do I've seen that with the dragonflies where you make like gossamer type wings and stuff like that. My squirrels are my cats. Now, the big girls are usually pretty good. S'mores, You can hear it going through all of the seams and stuff. S'mores likes to lay on my chest until I wake up. It's like, it's fine. It's better than Mocha, who likes, when my nails are a little bit longer, Mocha, my big white calico girl, she likes to bite the tip of my nails and try to pull them off of the nail beds off my fingers. And that's her way to wake me up. Or she takes one claw and she'll grab my cheek or my ear or something. So laying on my chest is a much better way to wake up. Now I'm going to do a grid in the opposite direction too, just because I feel like just one direction is awkward. If you have the thread with multiple colors that changes the variegated thread, that works really well too. Now, for some reason, I guess it's just this first seam. Now I'm going to go on the right of the seam. I don't know. Why? Because I can. Oh, Giovanna, you're lucky. My cats... I guess my bobbin wasn't there. That's weird. My cats, they sleep... They're in the same... Oh, it got hooked on something. They're in the same room with me because my daughter's cats are just mean, evil beep, beep, beeps. And they're very territorial. They were pretty good when we first moved here because it's like nobody's house. It was the dog that lived here before. It was their house. Make sure I get the pieces of thread out. But now everyone's kind of settled in, and my daughter's cats want to be in this room too because I'm the only one here, and they're very attached to people. They are up my daughter's butt all the time, laying in her lap. When Justin was here, they were all over him, and my girls are all sleeping. You know, they're all doing their cat thing, and I'm doing my thing, and they don't pester me. But my daughter's cats want to be in on everything, so now they think it's their house, and my girls have a hard time leaving the bedroom now, which was why we wanted the bigger room and the open bathroom, so they kind of have the 3 rooms. It's kind of like a little efficiency apartment for them. So they sleep with me. One sleeps in my bed, S'moresy sleeps in my bed, and the other 2 sleep wherever. I have the tubs underneath here they like to sleep in. I have the hope chest. I have 5 beds underneath my bed. I have 3 cats, right? So I have 5 cat beds underneath my bed, and I also have a mat where they like to lay on a couple of towels stacked up with a blanket on top of it. And then S'mores likes to sleep on a little side table next to my bed or in bed with me. So my cats are spoiled. They have plenty of places to lay. Once I close the door, my big cats come out because they know it's safe, that there's no other cats in here to pester them. Is it Clarice or Clarice? Welcome. I'm so glad you joined us. I love just random tips. I was just thinking, I was looking at something and I'm like, I have a question. Oh, like these. I have a question about it. But sometimes when you go to a channel, they don't give you, it's like they're gatekeeping the information. They don't give you all of the steps. They don't tell you, because I really got confused when I was, I got a little crooked. Well, life goes on. A little wonky won't hurt. So it's like they don't give all the information, and then when you go and ask, like in an email or you ask on someone's video, and they don't answer right away, I feel like, So if someone's going to be watching my channel and they're going to want to learn something, it could be 2 a.m. for them. So I want to make sure that any questions someone might have, that if I could give them an answer, I'm going to give them that answer ahead of time. Some people are like, you shouldn't give all the secrets away. But I don't want a new quilter or new to this project person to sit there and go, oh, I really wish I could finish this project. The person didn't give me all the information. And you'll never know what you're going to learn. Like we learned about not the Instant Pot, the crock pots today. Like I said, we did rulers. We talked about the trick with the pins. You never know what's going to come out of my mouth. That usually gets me in trouble. But when we're talking quilting stuff, then it's usually pretty good. So there's that. That's all done. We didn't follow the directions. We didn't do what they wanted us to do, but we used scraps that normally would get thrown away because not a lot of people save 1.5 inch pieces of fabric. We used up this weird, it still looks like a cloth diaper type material to me. We used that up. Have some thread going on. So now I'm going to try to line it up with the seams, but I'm not going to worry about it too much, just to see if I can get something square. Now this is going to be 1.25 inches, but because little things tend to get wonky, it's not perfect. If you're going to bury your rotary cutter, make sure it's closed or get the one that automatically closes when you let go of it. And make sure that if you have a pile of stuff that you don't try to cut anything, because I was doing it once and I had a ruler underneath and I cut on the ruler. So you're going to scratch your ruler and you're going to dull your rotary cutter. I have a new blade in here. This is an old mat, but I'm working on a pretty good area over here. If you have a bunch of grooves and your mat's old, it's going to wear out your rotary cutter quicker. Your other tidbit is live streams. We're supposed to clean our sewing machine every time there's a live stream, so that's at least twice a month. I cut one side, I cut the other. Now these bits I'm not going to save, but if I wanted to, I could separate this even with the glue on the back, and then I could use it for my scraps to go underneath the sewing machine. But I'm okay. I've got enough purple, so I won't. I'll line this up over here and I'll just make up a number. And that number looks to be 5 3/8. I'm sure it's not supposed to be that number, but that's the one I'm using. It's not going to be even, but since I already have my backing on, it's not going to matter. Just when I go and do something, like if I go to put it in the shop and I have to measure it and put the numbers down in the description box, I'm like, I usually just go a little short. Instead of saying this is 5 3/8, I might say it's 5 1/4 or something like that. So there is that. So the only thing we need now is binding, and I really think it needs a white binding. Let me peek at the comments. Why not? Why not? Uh-oh, why not? Why not? Why not? Why not? Oh, that's my why not from before, yes. Me too. Did I clean it? Giovanna, I cleaned it the other day. I didn't clean it today. I haven't used my sewing machine hardly at all this week. I was working on something, and then I'm like, I need to clean it because what I was working on, if I do a lot of stuff with batting or something, then I make sure. I had to change the needle, so I took it apart. Now, I haven't like flipped the machine over because my machine, you can take the bottom off and clean this bobbin area from underneath. I haven't done that in a while, but I can look down and see, and it's not too bad. I pulled out a whole pile of gunk because it'd been a couple weeks since I cleaned it, and that's unusual for me. All right, so now I do use the 1.5 inch white strips. So look, for someone who wasn't planning ahead, I'm all set. I have everything I need right here. What would I like? I want that swirly fabric. Nope, I want the big swirly. So here we go. We have some swirly. And I may or may not. I have some smaller pieces. I could sew it all together. But what I do is I measure. So this side is 5 1/2, 5 1/2, 5 1/2, 5 1/2, even though it's not accurate. So that's 5, 10, 15, 20, 21, 22. And I usually add, for a quilt, I'd add like 12 inches. But 22, so I want it to be maybe, I don't know, 25 inches, 26. The extra is just going to go back into my scrap bin anyways. So this is, and this one, it's the, it's against the grain or whatever. It's really stretchy and stuff. But this one is 13. And this one was already, nope, it wasn't. I thought it had, oh yeah, nope. See, this one was already a seam. So this one was already binding at some point. And this one just might be enough on its own. But I need to press this again. Now, I put my binding on the back and bring it around to the front. I do want to do a little bit more practice of putting it on the front and then like stitching in the ditch area, but I don't do very well at it, so you need to have practice. Jody, it's a mug rug. Basically, this said this was quilting on the go. Try the mug rug challenge. But I'm calling it a coaster at this point. Because that's not a mug rug. This together, it would be a mug rug. And you could do that. You could put the two of these together, zigzag it down there, and you could have a mug rug like that. But I'm just going to call it a coaster. I think it's really fun. I like it. I clean my bobbin case with every bobbin change just to have it. That's a great idea. Now, my bobbin's a drop-in, so I can see right here. My brother's sewing machine, I can take out a whole big clunk and take the bobbin out and clean. But this one on the Juki, I have to take out the little screwdriver thing and unscrew the whole plate to be able to clean it. So this one tends to not get cleaned as often. This black one doesn't want to play well. That's Harry Potter fabric with the eyeglasses. So I don't clean this one as often. The other one I would clean every day. All right, so this I want to, oh yeah, I was gonna make bindings, so I'm gonna do, I'm not gonna do purple. So clip my thread up there. Yes, I would usually be a cheapskate and not want to do that, but I try to be nice with the bigger, more expensive machines and not do things you're not supposed to. I am a rule breaker. I don't believe in a lot of rules, but some rules are important and you should follow them. So I'll have to clean this up after. The little spot you put up at the top of your machine where you wind your bobbin, I keep an extra bobbin up there. Or if I change this bobbin, so I put my white one up there so that, so that I can just, I won't lose it. I know exactly where it is. Come on. The bobbin fit right in the little scissors thing. So now I can go up here, and here's my white one. I didn't misplace it in this whole mess. Or if I did, and that's the other one, I don't know. I usually try to keep an extra bobbin if I know I'm doing a lot of sewing. Even though the bobbins are just behind me, it's that you don't want to stop, right? You don't want to have to stop and go find something and lose that momentum. Exactly, Jody, that's perfect. When you don't have the bandwidth, when you don't have the energy or the brain power to be creative, if you lose your mojo of whatever craft you're doing, I find that if I cut my fabric scraps into little bits, I sort my fabric, I refold my fabric, I take the little bits of yarn and I wind them into a ball and I sort them by color or fiber or whatever. It keeps me in the craft. And then when my creativity comes back, I'll know about it. Because sometimes if you stop doing a craft because you don't have the mojo, you don't notice when your creativity is back because you're reading or gardening or just sitting around watching TV. But this way I find it comes back much faster when I do this process. He can wait until the live is finished. What is the name of your sewing machine? I have 2 sewing machines. I keep them down below in the description box, and I'm going to tell you about that something in a second. But this is a Juki HZL-F600. There's a F400 and an F200, I believe, of this brand/model. There's so much junk in the bottom of the description box. This summer, one of the things I want to do is to clean that up. And I want to take things like the mailing address and the emails, and I want to put it on the YouTube About section so that extra information is there. And then the description box will just have like the important stuff. What are we working on this week? And, just little things like that versus all of the extra things that they don't need to be there all the time because you have to really scroll through a lot of stuff to find what you're looking for. So I'll just put in the description box, a link. Here's my About page. Click on it and go there, and you'll be able to find things like the address, the random things like that. I'm changing my email up too. Sorry, guys, but I'm changing things around a little bit this summer. Well, I don't need a screwdriver, but I have that little thingy, so I just call it a screwdriver. It's easy to clean each time I change the bobbin. It's surprising how much, yeah, a lot of lint goes in there. I know based on if I'm doing a lot of matchstick sewing. So I'm back, I'm in the center. I'm dropping it down to a 1.8 because when I press these seams open, I don't like to be able to see the thread. So I go with a tinier stitch. Now when I do my binding, I have a binding video. Come on, cord. But when I do mine, I don't draw the line, but I like to have a little extra on the top and the side so that when I go diagonally and I flip it open, it doesn't do that weird thing where you have some up here or some down there. It lines it up nice and even. Oh, I thought you meant the name, like what do you call it? Oh, no, I don't name my sewing machines. I don't name my car. My car is a girl though. And I always thank my car at the end of a ride from getting me from point A to point B safely. I'm like, you're a good girl. Thank you so much for starting up. I'm so happy that the air conditioning is working and it kept me cool. My kids don't even look at me anymore. They're just like, Mom's just weird. I have that thing that's an actual condition. They have a name for it or something where I think inanimate objects are alive. Whatever, I don't care. I like to talk to my car. But yeah, I've never gotten into the naming my sewing machine. My sewing machine is just a Juki. I think my sewing machine, it's a good sewing machine, but no. And then I just go where there's a point, there's a little V where everything goes. And I try to eyeball it so it's not crooked when you line up the fabric, of course. And then if I move it and talk too much, it moves. Then just slide it in. And I have that tape, the Cluck Cluck Sew diagonal seam tape on my machine, so I can line the V up with that. I do love an automatic thread cutter. That is so fancy. My brother's sewing machine does not have it, and I miss it on that machine. And then I would take my 1/4 inch ruler that I love. It's not a 1/4 inch, but it has that marking on it. And then that way, they all don't have to be perfect, but I've just gotten in the habit. So if I were to save this extra fabric for whatever reason, then I would know that all those pieces that I cut off are all the same. And then I cut the tip off there and that little overhang there. And then I have a thread. Now these, I don't save because they're never equal enough to worry about. I press my seam open because it makes the binding, because you're folding the binding over a time or two and you really don't want that seam to get too thick. So I press it open. And while I'm pressing them open, that's when I just run down and I press the rest of the fabric. And I press the little triangle fold over because I'm going to do that tuck in thing. I do the pocket on my binding. I've been doing that for a long time. I did teach myself how to do it, and I have a video on how to cut it exact and how to sew the two pieces together and all of that. But oh, we forgot to put a label on it. If I put a label on it now, you're going to see through. Darn it. So I'm going to put my other label on. And life will be fine. It'll stick out a little. It's not a big deal. So I have the shiny, plasticky, nylon-y type label. And what I'll do is I will put it in. I can check to see where the 1/4 inch is. And I'll put it through so it just doesn't stick out too much. Now this will stay on the back so it won't stick out the side like when I do the quilts. So I'll just slide it up so it's not too in your face, and I'll stitch it in. I forget labels all the time just because it's an extra step, and I like to baste everything down, and that just means I'm going to stitch it really close to the edge so it's in the seam allowance. And then when I go and I stitch my binding down, I don't have to put pins and clips, and I don't have to worry about where that is or anything like that. Cut off that excess. Then we're good. You can go over there. Now, we're going to do it from the back. Your serger's name is Sergio. Obviously, of course. Big Bertha. Nice. Now, because there's seams in it, I do the little testy thing. Let me see, I'll put a little clip on it. This is just go around. I want to start making round coasters with bias binding, but I can't do a tutorial for that until I do a tutorial for bias binding. So that's what's been holding me up. So starting there, that's good because I have it, it's going to end up past there. I do trim a little bit. I leave more than 1/4 inch on the seam allowance there just because it works out better that way. Now 1/4 inch, make sure your needle and your presser foot are up before you switch it just to make sure that it doesn't mess with the tension that way. So I have 1/4 inch, stick with the 2.0. I like to start a little past the point of it just so no stitches show anywhere weird. Today I backstitch, tomorrow I might not. Oh, and I do use this ruler because when I'm doing this, I do mark the 1/4 inch. So I need to grab, I'm using a friction pen just because. Mine aren't fancy, mine aren't the Friction, because my pens are from 10 years ago, even though they're not that old. But before these became popular with quilters, they were the friction pen. And now that they're popular with quilters, they're the Friction pen. So I don't know if I say it wrong or not, but I do the old stuff. So when I get going down, you're supposed to stop whatever your seam allowance is. I'm using the 1/4 inch, so I'm supposed to stop 1/4 inch away from the edge. So when I get close, I just use that little 1/4 inch stuff. I can lay it right down. This is so small, there's not much space. Sorry, my chair clunks. And I mark that 1/4 inch because it really makes a difference when you're turning to have that perfect mitered corner. So you really, for me, I really need to do that. So I stitch down till I'm right on that line, and then I do the corner where you turn it so that you sew right off the corner. Was that a 45? Then I take it out and I trim these threads because they always get in the way. This is where you need that little quilting thing I showed you, the little thread catcher. You can just set it down here, the little piece of batting with the binding on it. You put this down and it'll save all these little bits so they're not floating all over and sticking to your clothes. So when you go to Walmart or Joann's or wherever, and then bring it up so that the side of your project lines up with your binding. And since I stitched off the corner, it makes that so nice. And I look here just to make sure it's not in a weird spot. So you line it up there. This looks pretty perpendicular. Yeah, I think that, I don't know, whatever that is. The bottom part of the T. And then bring this back down and line it up so it's at the top. And then you just start back on, and you don't have to back stitch or anything. You just stitch away. You make sure we're good. My mind goes blank when I try to name my machines or cars, so I never come up with it. I can't name my projects, my quilts, nothing. If you look at my Etsy shop, it's really simple. You'll see Rainbow Coaster. That's it. If I made a quilt, it would be Scrappy Rainbow Quilt. There's not a lot of creativity for me when it comes to that stuff. I don't want to stop and draw my 1/4 inch line too early because I don't use a walking foot when I do the binding because I don't like the way it feels and works. So your fabric is shifting. I do make sure my line is long enough that I can see it. And yes, even I take the time to draw that line every time because I can't gauge distances. Then you bring it up. Give it a little finger crease, bring it back down. Sometimes I just have to do what has to be done. Now, when I put this back under my machine, I go forward and then back because sometimes this corner gets flipped down because it's not quilted down in that corner area. So I got in the habit of going forward and then coming back, and it makes everything lay down because it irks me when that little corner gets flipped, even if it's within the seam allowance. Sometimes you sew the whole thing only to realize like your top thread was, yep, my top thread got unthreaded, so I didn't stitch anything. Or you've run out of the bobbin thread or something, and then you have to do it all up. My thread catcher's usually right there. Did you see that? I do work out pretty well, so that makes me happy. Oh, the former owner named your car Dolly? That's nice. That's fun. Oh, Dolly Parton's a big thing here, so Dolly, that's kind of cool. If you pay attention, it kind of sounds and feels different when you don't have bobbin or upper thread. I usually recognize it after the fact, but it really feels and sounds different. These pens are good because you can go on the side and it'll still write, which is helpful. Did I do that right? Yeah, it just looked big. Dum, 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 dum. And sometimes you kind of like hold the fabric so it only takes a half a stitch or something. It's whatever works. She's a big thing there too. Nice. I grew up with a family that was really into Dolly Parton and stuff. Into the back, bring it forward. Now, those of you who do a victory lap around your quilt to your blocks wouldn't have that problem, because after you're all done quilting and everything, and then you do a stitch all the way around to make sure none of the seams pop and everything stays in place. I have never had the patience for that. That always kind of irks me a bit. One of my favorite words, irks. Because it's like, it doesn't make me mad, and it's not like super annoying. It just kind of irks you. I usually keep these right over here, but for some reason I feel the need today to put them over there. And then off the edge. Now here, since this is where, when you bring your binding over, it's already got the fold, so you already have that diagonal. I believe it's a 45. I call almost everything a 45. Probably get me in trouble sometimes, but then I bring this back down. And normally you're working on a bigger project instead of a little 5-inch coaster. So I'll look and I'll see where, here's the, because here it's longer, so here's shorter. You want to make sure you get past that. And I usually do it underneath the sewing machine, but I have all this extra. I won't need this. So I'll just trim this off there. And then I'll trim it off there. And now I have a white on white half square triangle. I usually keep it. And this just makes it easier to maneuver. So when I'm under the sewing needle, under the machine here, I don't need all that extra bulk, so I just see as I get a little closer, I look and I fold that top piece of binding so it's just past that little fold there. And then I just check, and as I'm sewing, make sure nothing's shifting. Then I'll go through and I'll just trim that off. The fold just makes it easier to trim in a straight line. And I do a back stitch. And then I move all of the gunk out of the way. Now this piece can go back into my 1.5-inch strip bin when I clean up. My patrons have seen this over and over again. They're probably tired of seeing it. I'm really getting awfully close that if I want to keep working, I have to go to the Dollar Tree. I thought I had more glue. I don't know if I just didn't take it with me. I know I donated a lot of stuff to a teacher when I sold my house. It's not open. It can sit like that. It's safe. I probably gave all my extra bottles of glue to the teacher thinking, well, I'll just get new glue in Arizona because it was kind of old. It still worked. But I thought, well, if I'm going to donate crayons and pencils and paper, I'll go ahead and donate the glue too, just to make sure the teacher has something nice. So that one's still folded a little. But I like to clean up everything before I stitch it, because all those little bits when you first start sewing, the beginning and ending threads, they're always somewhere, and they always manage to stick out. Oh, it's Robbie making noises. All right, so there's that. Then we just kind of finger press it a little bit to get it around there. I don't put the iron on my label. I take the corners and pop them so they're nice in the corner. Just make sure everything's over. This part just annoys me, so I do that last. But it's a little harder with this one. I would fold it so that the binding, there's a video on how to do single fold binding on my playlist. At what point is your diamond quilt? When am I going to do my diamond quilt? I've done it 12 times in my head, Giovanna. I don't know. When I get more organized and I sit down and I start doing things, I haven't even been working on the string quilt for sitting in my chair. So I don't want this edge of the binding to go under my coaster here. I want it to just touch the edge. Now for this spot here, I like to put a little dab of glue just here to hold them together so that they stay together and behave. And the glue sets with a little bit of heat. I have a couple... Hi, Jackie. Jackie made it. Woohoo! I have a couple projects that I really want to work on. I want to do a pineapple quilt. That's why I need to make a list. I need to figure out exactly what I want to make and what I need to do to make it. And then I need to get these. I need to pick, these is something I'm going to be picking up when I go to Dollar Tree. I'll probably pick up 20 of these because I like to have each project in its own little bin like that. And that way I can be like, oh, on Monday I'm going to work on the diamond quilt. On Tuesday I'm going to work on my spider web salvage quilt. You know, I want to have a Christmas quilt. I want to have this and that and the next thing, but I can't have those things if I don't work on them. So I'm just folding over my corners to make sure they're good. Now I put a little line of glue, not in the corner, probably a 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch away. I put some glue in the seam allowance, and then I bring this fabric over, and I want to make sure that my binding goes past my stitching line, and I want to try to keep it in a straight line. Now this took me a bit of practice. My patrons will let you know that I had a lot of wonky binding on my projects until I started. It takes practice. You can't do things perfectly every time the first time. Sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes everything, if you cross your eyes and stick your tongue out and the wind's blowing in the right direction, it'll be perfect, but it won't be perfect every time for everybody. Lisa and the girls just left. Bye, Lisa and the girls. I hope you had a nice visit. And then here's the one with that seam, so I'm just going to pay a little attention to it. Yeah, I'm almost out of glue. Now, school's going to be starting up. I don't know when school starts up here. I don't know when it ended. Without there's no school buses, so I don't know. I know right now back in Lee County, Florida, they have the tax-free school holiday, where when you buy school type supplies for elementary, middle, high school, and college kids, even for yourself, they don't say, hey, do you got a kid? It's tax-free. So they do a couple tax-free weekends, so you can go stock up on clothes and pens and pencils, and sometimes you can even get things for the college kids like towels and sheets and stuff, and they'll consider that to be part of school supplies. Depends on how the manufacturer labels it, I guess. So that's going to hold that in place. Now my corners, I do not put glue in them, but I am weird. I like to use the yellow binding clips, so all 4 of them are yellow. School starts mid-July. Oh my goodness. So there should be some school sales going on soon. Oh, Lee Allen, he said it's been bad. The couple people down the road from him, it's really flooded because he's like right on the river almost. Your tongue might get stuck when the wind changes. Now, school in Florida started around like the 8th of August usually. Yeah, we usually finished up. Miranda's birthday is May 21st, and she wasn't always in school for her birthday. So I'm going to create my miter. I put one side down. Sometimes I have to adjust how much fabric I pulled over, and that's why I can't get a good miter going, but usually it works. But that's usually when they have like Target and Walmart. Well, not Walmart very much, but Target will have Staples and all of those type places. They will have school supplies on sale. And sometimes you can get like Elmer's glue and stuff. But the Jot glue, for what I'm doing, since it's not permanent, it works fine for me. I don't have any issues with it. There's usually one. I already had issues with one of the corners. Ow! Ooh, that hurt. Now, these are the generic ones. So I did break this. This thing just snapped right off. And that happens. But when you buy 100 of them and maybe 5 of them snap off in the first 2 years, I'm not going to complain too much, especially since I know I use the yellow ones a lot. I think I pushed down a little too far on the edge and I didn't grab more into it. Not to give it an excuse, but I put more pressure down on the edge. So what happens? Things, not everything is going to be amazing. A lot of people complain and say, oh, I bought 100 of them and 5 of them broke. I'm like, so what? You spent $5 on it. I don't want to hear any complaints. It is definitely even drier now. Jackie, you're here. I have questions for you, Jackie. Let's play a little game of talk to the people from Arizona. I've noticed something, and I think I know what the reason is, but there are 2 sets of screens on my house. So there's a screen where you can open the window and they'll let the air in, and then there's a screen next to it, and it's screwed into the wall. The only thing I can think of, because like most of the houses in this area have them, is it to protect the sun from the window and the dust? And the other thing, does anyone in any part of the world, do you have a recommendation for a cool mist humidifier? Jackie gave me a couple of you people suggested the same air purifier from Walmart, so I'm going to pick that up. But I want to get a humidifier because, not to be gross, but my nose and my sinuses are constantly dry and bloody, and that just means I need a humidifier because it's terrible here. I think year-round school is great. Oh, that is a birthday present, isn't it, Giovanna? So my daughter and I need something. Now, Robbie works, for those of you guys that don't know, some form of something, marijuana is legal in Arizona. Like, you can go to a vape store and you can buy marijuana. Robbie works at a marijuana factory where they grow marijuana and they pluck it and they package it all up and they send it out and stuff. There's one room there that has like 80% humidity that the Arizona guys don't want to go into. They all fight over who has to work in the room. Robbie volunteers because 80% humidity is great to him. He's used to that. So he goes in and it moisturizes his skin and his sinuses. A Vicks humidifier, that's a good name brand. So I'm just going to look. I'll find something. I just want to see if anyone... See, that's what I thought it was, Laura, sunscreens. Because now, I thought mine were brown, but I washed them and they're really not brown, but the neighbors are black. They have like black screens. Because I have a window in my bathroom that doesn't open and it has a screen on it. Now in Florida, we have a hot sun too, but we never had like sunscreens like that. We just had tinted windows. That's what I was wondering, Jackie. I couldn't figure it out for a while, but then the idea just popped into my head that maybe it's that. So I have an R foot, and this is a stitch in a ditch foot, and I use that to stitch down my binding. Now here's my everyday usual universal foot. I'm going to take that and I'm going to put that right back into my machine because I don't want to lose it. Otherwise I have a little wooden pineapple that I put things in, but I'm really good at misplacing things and accidentally throwing things away. So I put that in a spot where I'm not going to lose it. So I'm on the front. I'm going to stitch it down from the front. I move over to, I'm at the 1/4 of an inch, and I like to move my needle. I'm able to move my needle 2 clicks to the right, so it's even scanter of a 1/4 of an inch. And that allows me to catch just the edge of my binding, and it does leave that extra stitch back here, so I could use purple or whatever, but I'll have a white stitch that goes all the way around. You're supposed to stitch in the ditch here and it catches it there, and I'm not good at that, so I just say, hey, I have an extra line of stitching, that's fine. Or wait, do I go the other way? Nope, I think I go the other way. I always confuse myself. I go away from closer to the edge of the binding so I have less of a stitch there. So let me put it down and see where it hits. Yeah, that works. Oh no. They say he's got to go. Go, go, Godzilla. I have tweezers because when the thread doesn't come all the way up and you have to, especially with this foot because it has these extra bits, I just use these Tula Pink tweezers. They're not good as tweezers, but they work great for picking up little pieces of fabric. She designed these for English paper piecing, so I can pick up little bits real easily, and you can pick up threads, but you can't use them as like tweezers. So if you get a splinter, that's not going to help you. Talk to the local pharmacist. They can recommend, oh, I can do that. Yeah, I can, because I have to go to Walgreens to pick up a prescription soon. Cool air, yes. I want to get a cool air because the hot ones, the steamy mist humidifiers, you can create too much bacteria in them when it's hot. The cool ones are better for your sinuses, and it doesn't create as much bacteria, because those you have to clean every single night before you use them, and that's just a pain in the butt. I oppose year-round school. But we never went too many places in the summer, and the summer was always too long for the kids. I like that you go for your 9-week, and then you have a week or 2 off. You go for the semester, and you have 3 weeks off. So you can have your little vacations without having like 3 months off in the summer when everyone has issues. Yeah, I don't have a lot of OCD, but I've become a little bit more particular. Now there's a metal bar in here, so I don't know if the needle's supposed to go on the other side, but this works for me. And it allows me to ride that metal bar at the bottom right along. Now I know if I get onto the binding on the other side, because it goes clunk, 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 but I also have my label in there somewhere. So if I hear clunking, it could be that. If it goes crooked and it goes on my binding, well, life happens. I also use the tweezers if I need to adjust this corner after I've taken the clip off, so I can make sure it stays kind of squarish, because if you've seen the rounded binding, it's because it's moved. So then I watch and I go 1, 2 back after it, and I back up. Then I can turn my corner, and to keep it even, 1, 2, and then I come again. And if I have any little threads, I could pull them off with the tweezers, or I tuck them in where no one can see them. Have you ever gotten an Amazon envelope, and when you open it up, that little strip that you pull off to get the stickies is inside your envelope? I'm like, really, Amazon? You can't throw away your own trash? That's where the binding connected, and my label is coming up on this side. Now, perfection? No. But a fun project? Yeah. Sometimes my corners end up rounded. Sometimes the perfect angle isn't perfect. I don't always get a mitered corner perfectly. But you know what? It's usually something, see here how loud it gets? That's going over my label. It's usually something we notice that no one else notices. Even another quilter might not notice it until you point it out to them. Now with this metal bar underneath there, it can be lifted up to go over humps and stuff. Sometimes it'll push the bindings, so I just use my tweezers or a stiletto or something to make sure it doesn't. 2 stitches over. Sometimes it's 3 stitches back. Whatever happens. So, sometimes you take your foot off the machine and it still does a stitch or 2. Highly annoying. And then here's our last corner. I have glue on my finger. And then, I'm sorry, I'm not ignoring everyone. I'm just getting past the binding, and then I'll look at the comments again. Then I back up. Now I can see already that my coaster is not perfectly square. It's not amazingly perfectly square, but I like it. I would hang this on a wall before I put a drink on it. I don't care. And then I do the thing like, okay, how good was I? And I look, and my white line of stitching, it's not even all the way around. There it is right there. It's a little bit wider. I got a little narrow, and then wider and narrow, but I didn't stitch on the binding at all this time, so I count that as a win. Look at that. See, we have a fun little coaster. We used something that probably everything in here would have been thrown away, right? Because if you got this and you're like, I don't know what to do with that, it's just a piece of little funky batting, I don't like it, so maybe you threw that away. 1.5 inch strips, well, I don't use anything unless it's 2.5 inches or bigger, so you threw all that away. Now maybe you're okay with a 5-inch charm square. Some people throw away things. I have threads on me. If it's smaller than 5 inches, they cut it up into scraps. So I use something from my rainbow scrap bins. Now my label's not scrap, but if I had something wrong with the label, I could still use it somehow in there. And I just made a fun little coaster that is not perfect, that is not evenly squared up. It kind of does this, and like this square is smaller than this square, and this square is smaller than that square, and then I got the colors mixed up and the two blues. But I had fun, and I used all my junk that technically that might have ended up in the trash or something, but I made a fun little coaster. Now I can go to the Dollar Tree and I can get it's June, so it's the, I never get all the initials right, so I'm just going to say it's Rainbow Month. I'm not being rude or anything. I just don't want to miss out on any of the little initials of people. So here's my rainbow stuff. I bet you I can go to Dollar Tree or Walmart or Target and get some type of a rainbow mug to put on here. I can put some tea in it, wrap it all up nice, and here you go, best friend. Here you go, my friend who had a baby or has been in a hospital. Here you go, friend who's had a bad day. I put some Hershey's Kisses in there to make it feel good. Oh, is it wintertime? Well, here you go. I put hot cocoa in. And they're going to appreciate it. And it's okay if it's not perfect, because some people are going to be better at using it and say, I don't mind using this because it's a little crooked. So if I get cocoa or coffee on it, I won't feel bad. Not talking to me, talk among themselves, summer camp, year-round school since 1995. Wow. 3 months of school, 1 month of holiday. Excuse me, my pants are falling down. That's kind of fun too. 12 day, 12 nights. Pride month. Thank you, Jackie. There we go. Not Rainbow Month, Pride Month. That works. Thank you, everyone. So I hope you guys had fun just playing a little bit. We did not follow the rules of the mug rug challenge, but I think we met the challenge, had a little bit of fun. I highly recommend if you are working with certain size things. Mine are 1.5 because that's what I use a lot. But if you do a lot of 2.5 inch or 5 inch strips, if you find yourself constantly looking for certain colors, create a special little bin like this. Take your little bits as you're working on a project and you're done. Just take, when I'm trimming up my fabric yardage, I'll go ahead and I'll cut it 1 3/4 inch wide to trim up the edge before I start cutting it. Spin it around and trim it to 1.5. I'll put it in my bin. Then I'll cut whatever I need for binding or my quilt or whatever. And it's easy to add to this bin without sitting down and constantly saying, okay, here's my fabric. Let me cut 75 pieces of scraps. You just build it up so that when you want to play, you're all set to play. You have everything you need in one little spot. Now, I still didn't get a drink. Stop talking. Close the lid because I will spill it. These are Walla cups. I love these. This is like the 40 ounce or something like that. I love this. I can drink several of these a day, but since they're the bigger ones, I also have the smaller 24 ounces or whatever, but I have to get up and fill those more often. This time I can fill it like, I fill it in the morning, I fill it at lunch, I fill it in the afternoon, I fill it at dinner time. And it stays cold overnight, so when I wake up at 2 in the morning, I can get a quick drink. So now before I clean up, I will take my white strip and I'll put it in there. Now this little bit I don't normally put in here unless I know I'm working on a project that I'll need a little 1.5 inch square. I'll put that in some other container, but everything else is good. I will take these bits and I might decide that I want to work on this again. So I'll have these 3, and it comes with the directions that I didn't follow. Camping Lady, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Bye everyone that's leaving us. You know me, I always ramble at the end. I never just stop. It's a thing. I heard it was an Italian thing, and then I read somewhere that it's like adult ADHD, that when you go out to the car to say goodbye, you can never say goodbye. We just always thought it was a Lalone thing, a Birch thing, because that's my maiden name, Birch. It's what our family always did. There was always something else to talk about. But I'll put these in here, and we can do it on another live stream. We can do something different. I can just put one piece of fabric on the front, one piece on the fabric on the back, use these up and be done with it. I can take some of my thin strips from another project that are left over. So I leave this in this little bin, and I actually have a stack of these over here. So this is projects I want to work on soon. So like, I have to refine, I can't show you the other side, has someone's address on it. Someone sent me a community block. I sent them a postcard. The post office ate it up, so I have to go through my phone with my 700 photos and find the address that I took a picture of. I need to find a spot to put the tissue paper and put that away. Here's my little notepad. This is, oh, someone sent me, these are the letters that I got with the community blocks. I have this fun fabric that I don't want to put away yet because I don't know where to put it, so I want to keep it here. This is Desert Stripper. Oh, these are the quilting license plates. So here's Arizona. It's a Desert Stripper. And this is Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island. So this is Stitch Rippers. Hawaii, Alava 2 quilt. Florida is So Retired. So, okay, let's see. Thanks, Sandy. Thanks, Kim. Wait, someone's got pizza? I want pizza. I haven't made pizza. I want to make... Have you seen the thing where you take it's a braid, like you put out a rectangle of pizza, or you can do it with taco meat. You put all of your toppings in the center. I know it's a dessert thing, and then you braid the dough over the top and you bake it. I like that. It's kind of like a calzone, but it has open spots to let the air bubble out and everything. So I'm going to put this over here for a second because I want to play the game. Let's see where everyone's from. I have a little bit of scraps that someone sent me. It's not a full fat quarter or anything. So we have Utah is Quilty Pleasure. This is Canada stuff too. I think this was from a quilt retreat or something. So Manitoba, Winnipeg, that's Canada, right? Live, Love, Quilt. You're making enough pizza for everyone? No pineapple. I don't put strudel. Yes, I don't put pineapple on my pizza. Thanks, Linda. You're very welcome. Ohio is... Okay, some of these are cute. Ohio is Oh-hi-so. That's cute. Mississippi is Quilty Pleasure. I shouldn't do this because it's loud on the table. Idaho is Featherweight. F-E-T-H-E-R-W-8. Tennessee is Bobbin' Along. Then we have Oklahoma is Materialistic. And we have Montana is Peace Baby with a little bird up there. That's cute. I have like 12 bird projects I want to do. I'm such a random person, right? I want to do like themes, like here's a bunch of bird projects. Here's a tote bag, a zipper pouch, a pin cushion, a quilted pillow cover, you know, things like that. And then I want to move on and I want to do, here's rainbow projects and I want to move on and here's flamingo projects. Pennsylvania is Scrap Crazy from Allison Park. Quilter bust in Nevada. The New Brunswick Fredericton is You Sew Girl. Georgia is, it's TCH My Grits. So I'm going to say it's Stitch My Grits, like Kiss My Grits or whatever. We did Manitoba. Alabama is Quilter's Rocks. British Columbia is Hexalicious. Wisconsin is Do You Pre, and then it looks like a V. Oh, pre-wash, I bet you that is Do You Pre-Wash. California is Yosemite for Yosemite. Pizza and a loaded salad. See, I didn't grow up eating pizza and salad. We ate pizza or pizza and breadsticks. We never had like a meal. I saw someone have like pizza and corn. I'm like, okay, that feels weird to me because that's not what we did. Illinois is So With It. So if you can find some of this fabric, it might be fun. I don't know what to do with it, but I don't want to cut it anymore. So maybe a pillow cover, or what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Put a border on it, or it could become a tote bag. Cross stitching for Louisiana, that's fun. Cut it in labels. Yeah, just having little bits would be fun. I just like the little things they do. A lot of them have a red bird on it, so I don't know what was going on, but just about, every one of them has a red bird. And some of them have the pins. There's a ruler. Some of them have safety pins, and they have the shape of the state or Canada. My apologies. Is it a Providence that you guys have? Mississippi. Yes, so that's really fun. So I haven't put this anywhere because I'm afraid if I put it in my stash, it won't disappear, but it'll become invisible and I won't know it exists anymore. So I like these little Dollar Tree bins. I used to keep my scraps in them, but I just keep this in now. Like this here. Come on. Where'd I put it? Oh, there it is. When someone sent their project, their community block, they sent this. Here's the fabric, right? And they sent the rock. I know it's hard to see, my apologies. But what this rock is it's just like the fabric. It's got little fossils on it. It's a Petoskey stone. Come on. The Petoskey stone, and it has all kinds of pictures and information about it. So I have this separate too because I don't want to misplace this. I don't want to make anything with it yet, but I want to make sure it all stays together, and I keep the rock in with my larger clips. So I keep my headphone case in here, and I keep these big clips, and I keep my rock in there so I can see this every day. This used to be a candle. So I clean that up. So that's my plan is. And that kind of helps if you're trying to figure things out. Put things in some type of a container, whatever works for you. I need to turn off that iron. Isn't that fabric fun? Great idea for tote for the craft show shopping, yes. I want to make something with flamingo fabric for QuiltCon, so when I'm out and about shopping, I'll have a big flamingo on it, and you'll be like, that's Robin from RsIslandCrafts. That's a flamingo. She's got bright colors all around it. I want the other side to have like flying geese, maybe that paper piece block where the flying geese spin. Now this container, I just have my Halloween tote bag templates. I'm going to make one this year. I found my flamingo stamp and all of my pads and my alphabet stamps. I don't have a home for it, so it's sitting right here. I have it all sitting on top of my printer, so when I have to print, I have a hand towel for the dust cover, so I can just pick this up, set it down, use my printer, and then put it back. Because if you've been with me for a while, you've probably heard me say, if it's a flat surface, I'm going to put something on it. I have the dropsies. But that's it, guys. I hope you guys are having a great weekend. I hope your summer is going well. If you're looking for a project, I have these little cord keepers somewhere in my playlist, I think. I'm pretty sure I made one. And I just take my cords. You can do them in a circle. And I don't crease the top. I don't crimp them. It's very, very loosey-goosey. And you put your little cord catcher on it. Someone had sent me a few of these. I haven't had to make my own. And I pop that on there. Now my cord stays contained. It's not going all over the place and it's not crimped. And then I can put it over on the bookcase. And all of these stay in a drawer. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I hope you have a great weekend. There's tons of videos to watch if you need a little company. If you ever have any questions or if you want something custom made, just send me a message. The jar openers are all in the shop. So if you want one, I have the large ones listed separate from the small ones. I don't like to have pieces of fabric and thread on the floor. So you guys have a great weekend. Bye. Thanks for joining me and all that good stuff.